Chapter 1020. Wang Yi didn't realize that his compliments had turned into disdain. He continued to introduce them passionately. The two people just now are two Special Forces members from the Air Force Special Operations Group. The next two are two Special Forces members from the Huaxia Marine Special Forces. Yang Wuzi from the Sharp-Toothed Shark Brigade, also known as the Great White Shark. Zhang Tian from the Frogman Brigade is highly respected among the divers in the world. The foreign naval forces have given him a terrifying nickname, Water Ghost. From this, you can see how afraid those foreigners are of our brothers from the Frogman Brigade. After the introductions, there was another round of applause. Again, it wasn't particularly enthusiastic, but they still gave him face. Lu Yenshan and Qi Tianda had a good relationship with Wan Guangxiao. There was no conflict between the Navy and the Army, so they didn't have any opinions about Wan Guangxiao like Yin Guoqiang. Next up is a heavyweight. In the circle of our Special Operations Group, the most famous person this year is probably Zhang Bai from the Saber-Tooth Brigade, right? The Amur Tiger is indeed the Amur Tiger. Amazing! Wang Yi finally introduced Zhang Bai, but after he finished, the applause was sparse. Some people only clapped twice and stopped. Most people didn't even raise their hands. Wan Guangxiao's face showed an unnoticeable smile. This is the effect I want. You saber-toothed tiger can be arrogant. Don't forget, if you want to be arrogant, you can only be arrogant in your own army. Don't be arrogant in my Dragon Brigade. I, Wan Guangxiao, have plenty of ways to give you a headache. Faced with the sparse applause, Zhang Bai's anger rose. What kind of person was Zhang Bai? After being in the Saber-Tooth Brigade for so many years, he had always been the center of attention. Everyone treated him like a treasure. Even if something happened outside, no one would think highly of him just because he was a saber-toothed tiger. Today he was treated so unfairly in the Dragon Brigade. Even after he was introduced, the applause was so sparse. After all, he was here today to cause a scene. Yin Guoqiang had also said that he was the only one who had broken through to the Grandmaster realm among all the young people in the brigade. Therefore, his victory was in the bag. Although the competition had yet to begin, the outcome was already clear. With Zhang Bai present, the Saber-Tooth Brigade would be the champion. Even so, the Dragon Brigade still dared to offend him? If anyone is not convinced, then come out and fight one-on-one. Let's see who's the one who's convinced. Guoqiang Wan's psychological tactics are really good. Your people won't be affected psychologically because of this, right? Wei Lantian, who was sitting next to Yin Guoqiang, said. Obviously, he was still unhappy with Wang Yi saying that Morong Bai's strength in the White-Headed Eagle Brigade could be counted on one hand. Yin Guoqiang snorted. My people won't fall for his psychological tricks so easily. You, on the other hand, if the few members of your White-Headed Eagle Brigade lose to the Dragon Brigade, won't they be too proud? Wei Lantian's expression changed. It seemed that Wang Yi's words were not unintentional. Since everyone else thought so, Wei Lantian's face was a little embarrassed. Whether your people can withstand the psychological warfare or not depends on whether they can win the championship trophy. If they lose, that's impossible. Yin Guoqiang said firmly. I don't believe that the Dragon Brigade has a young person who can break through to the Guru realm before the age of 30. Yanlong, who had the most potential back then, had already been kicked out by Wan Guangxiao. Now I'm afraid that the person with the most potential under him doesn't have the ability to break through to the Guru realm. At this time, Wang Yi began to introduce the last contestant. As the host, Su Yun was naturally the last to go on stage. What he wanted was this kind of momentum. Without waiting for Wang Yi to open his mouth, Su Yun's footsteps had just stepped into everyone's field of vision. The special forces of the Dragon Brigade all cheered. Under the lead of the members of the Dragon Fury team, whether it was the members of the Dragon Fury team or the Dragon War Special Forces, all of them cheered. Applause, whistles, and shouts instantly rang through the courtyard of the Dragon Brigade. Yanlong! 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 No one knew who took the lead to shout, but the unified and powerful cheers made Su Yun feel a little flattered. It seemed that in the face of collective glory, the small conflicts between the special forces were no big deal. Yanlong. This name made Zhang Bai directly stunned. Morong Bai was also dumbfounded. Kong Duan was completely stunned when he turned around. Yang Wuzi and Zhang Tian looked at each other. F***ck, this Yanlong is really Su Yin. They didn't change the contestant. Yin Guoqiang stood up from his chair with a bang. Wan, what kind of trick are you playing for me? This kid How can he? Wan Guangxiao smiled confidently and said, isn't he a member of my team? If he is, what's wrong with me letting him go on stage? Ayaya, Guoqiang, don't tell me you went soft the moment you saw a member of my Dragon Brigade? I went soft. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Yin Guoqiang said, it doesn't matter who goes on stage. But didn't you already fire this kid? Wan Guangxiao shrugged. That was just a cover. I wanted him to go undercover on a top secret mission, so I announced that I fired him. I couldn't do anything about it. After all, it was a top secret mission, so no one could know about it. Now Su Yin is still one of my people. He is a special member who doesn't have to stay in the team. This was approved by the organization, not something I, Wan Guangxiao, made up. If you don't believe me, you can call and ask. Since Wan Guangxiao dared to say this, then Su Yin must be a special force member. But this was too sudden, and it was hard for them to accept. But Yin Guoqiang still calmed himself down. After all, Zhang Bai wasn't someone to be trifled with. He had heard of Su Yin. Although he had a lot of potential because of a mission, his inner demons suppressed his state of mind, and he couldn't break through the bottleneck of a supermaster. With just him, it would be hard for him to fight against Zhang Bai, right? Even if Yin Guoqiang thought highly of Su Yin, at most this kid broke through his inner demons and broke through the 9th rank of a supermaster. But this was just Yin Guoqiang's wishful thinking. Only Su Yin and the Dragon Brigade knew what Su Yin's true strength was. As long as Su Yin didn't show his power, no one would suspect that he had broken through the Grandmaster realm. Next, in addition to Su Yin, Dragon Zhan's division captain Yuan Qingdi and Dragon Might's division captain Gong Jiuxiao also appeared on the stage. Because they were the hosts, they had the advantage of having 3 people on the stage. This was called the home advantage. Whether it was football or basketball, even if it was a special force match, they had the home advantage. Next was the drawing of lots. This was a crucial moment, and the drawing of lots determined the confrontation of the first round. If the 3 members of the Dragon Fury team could be drawn separately, then it was fine. If they were drawn together, then they could only blame themselves for being unlucky. Chapter 10:21. Su Yin's opponent was Yang Wuzi of the Sharp-Toothed Shark Brigade. Both of them drew number 4. Gong Jiuxiao's opponent was Zhang Tian of the Frogman Brigade. Both of them drew number 1, so they would fight in the first round. Emperor Yuan Qingdi's opponent was Kong Duan of the Soaring Eagle Brigade. Both of them drew number 3. Zhang Bai of the Saber-Tooth Brigade would fight Morong Bai of the White-Headed Eagle Brigade in the second round of the first round. The winner of Su Yin and Yang Wuzi would fight the winner of Gong Jiuxiao and Zhang Tian in the second round. The winner of Emperor Yuan Qingdi and Kong Duan would fight the winner of Zhang Bai and Morong Bai in the second round. The winner of the second round would enter the finals, and the last one standing on the field would be the winner. As soon as the map came out, everyone had their own list of finalists in mind. I won't let Zhang Bai pass so easily. Yanlong, I'll see you in the finals. Emperor Yuan Qingdi needed to give himself confidence. He wouldn't become a coward just because Zhang Bai was rumored to be so powerful. He needed to be confident. He needed to emphasize that he was the one who would enter the finals. It didn't matter if he lost to his own people, but he couldn't lose to an outsider. Gong Jiuxiao was a little helpless. If he entered the second round and met Su Yin, he knew very well that he wouldn't be able to beat him. However, in this kind of competition he had to go all out. He couldn't give up. If he caused Su Yin to waste his strength, and caused him to have an accident in the finals, wouldn't it be the same as digging a hole for the Dragon Brigade? It turned out that Gong Jiuxiao was thinking too much. Although Zhang Tian was a member of the Frogman Brigade, and was known as the Water Ghost, he was still a good fighter even if he wasn't in the water. In the first round, although Gong Jiuxiao had the upper hand at the beginning, he failed at the critical moment. He didn't know if it was some psychological effect that distracted him, but the more he thought about how to face Su Yin in the second round, the easier it was for him to be distracted. In the end, Zhang Tian seized the opportunity to subdue Gong Jiuxiao with a single blow. Gong Jiuxiao, who was suppressed by Zhang Tian, was obviously very upset and unconvinced. His strength was on par with Zhang Tian's, but after all, Zhang Tian was from the Frogman Brigade. He usually carried out sea missions, but today he defeated his army special forces on land. This made him feel quite embarrassed. Zhang Tian angrily hammered the ground with his fist, venting the dissatisfaction in his heart. But a loss was a loss, and men could afford to lose. Seeing that Zhang Tian had won, Qi Tianda was obviously very happy. This was the first time in history that a member of the Frogman Brigade had won against a member of the Dragon Brigade in this kind of competition. Zhang Tian was really giving him face. The second round was between Zhang Bai and Morong Bai. From the moment Zhang Bai entered the arena, he didn't hide the invisible pressure that he emitted as a grandmaster. Morong Bai could be said to be in a disadvantageous position even before the fight started. Wei Lantian's face was dark and he didn't say a word. Yin Guoqiang, who was sitting beside him, was full of smiles. Brother Blue Sky, I'm really sorry that your people drew my people in the first round. I can't be so polite. Yin Guoqiang's proud expression was written all over his face. Looks like you guys have no chance this year. Next time, train more well-trained young people with potential. 10 years later, I'll be waiting for you at the saber-toothed tiger to fight for the championship. Ha 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 ha. Wei Lantian was in a bad mood. He didn't have the mood to respond to Yin Guoqiang's words. He coldly snorted. Whether you can work for another 10 years is still a problem. Facing Wei Lantian's resentment, Yin Guoqiang didn't get angry, because Zhang Bai completely occupied the upper hand in the battle with Morong Bai. As the pressure eroded Morong Bai went from being able to parry and dodge at the beginning to almost being unable to parry now. After only 5 or 6 rounds, Morong Bai was defeated with a huge disadvantage. Letting a person who was only a level 1 supermaster to deal with a level 1 grandmaster was simply an international joke. It was no wonder that Wang Yi said that Morong Bai was one of the few strong soldiers in the White-Headed Eagle Brigade, because among the young people in the White-Headed Eagle Brigade, only Morong Bai had broken through to the level 1 supermaster. After all, the new training mode was first implemented by the Dragon Brigade and the Saber-Toothed Tiger. The other Air Force Special Operations Group and Navy Special Operations Group were half a year late. Morong Bai lost. Wei Lantian's face was gloomy, but he didn't blame him. After the draw, he clearly knew that this was impossible. Yin Guoqiang came with the mentality of winning, and no one dared to compete with him. The third round had begun. Gong Jiuxiao had already lost the first battle. The morale of the mystical dragon team had suffered a blow. Emperor Yuan Qingdi knew that he needed to drive everyone's morale. Although Kong Duan was definitely not someone to be trifled with, Emperor Yuan Qingdi was prepared to win the competition no matter what. He needed to win the game, and he needed to exhaust Zhang Bai's physical strength as much as possible in the next round. He was shouldering the task he set for himself. If he couldn't win, the task would fail. In the eyes of soldiers, this was absolutely impossible. However, Kong Duan was indeed not a good person to mess with. He was also quite powerful, at least much more difficult to deal with than Morong Bai. After more than 10 rounds, both of them were sweating profusely. Of course, in the end, Yuan Qingdi still won with the advantage of physical strength. However, in his current state, it was probably impossible to exhaust Zhang Bai's physical strength in the second round. The fourth round began. Lu Yenshan looked at his subordinate, Yang Wuzi, walking forward. He was both expectant and worried. Yan Long was a well-known guy in the Special Operations Group since he was young. Although no one knew what had happened to him in the past year, Lu Yenshan still told Yang Wuzi to be careful. Yang Wuzi had heard a lot about Su Yun's glorious deeds over the years. It was no exaggeration to say that among all the members of the special forces present, no one had made more achievements than Su Yun. Because of this, Yang Wuzi still admired Su Yun very much. Great White Shark, this is the second time we meet. Su Yun also respected his opponent very much. You let me win. Yan Long, you let me win. Yang Wuzi admired Su Yun, but when it came to a real fight, he would not hold back at all. Every move was as fast as lightning, directly aiming at the opponent's key points. trying to use strength to subdue his opponent. Su Yun, on the other hand, used softness to conquer strength. After 3 to 5 rounds, Yang Wuzi had exhausted a lot of his physical strength due to using too much strength. Only then did Su Yun suddenly turn from soft to hard, and his fists rained down on Yang Wuzi's chest. Yang Wuzi blocked the first punch, but was unable to withstand the second. When the third punch hit his chest, he was completely unable to withstand the impact and was sent flying. The members of the Dragon Brigade could not help but secretly cheer. Everyone's emotions were stirred up by Su Yun. This was a turning point. Yang Wuzi began to feel more and more frustrated. Although he tried his best to fight, he was still defeated by Su Yun in the end. Chapter 1022. The first round is over. The winners are Water Ghost Zhang Tian from the Frogman Brigade, Northeast Tiger, Zhang Bai from the Sabertooth Brigade, and Flying Dragon Yuan Qingdi, Yin Long, and Su Yun from the Dragon Brigade. Wang Yi continued to preside over the competition. According to the draw, the second round is Northeast Tiger, Zhang Bai vs Flying Dragon Yuan Qingdi, Water Ghost Zhang Tian vs Yin Long, and Su Yun. The audience burst into loud cheers. Obviously, 80% of the cheers were for Su Yun, and 20% for Yuan Qingdi. They had nothing to do with Zhang Bai and Zhang Tian. Wei Lantian from the White-Headed Eagle Brigade, Lu Yenshan from the Sharp-Toothed Shark Brigade, and Horfei from the Sky-Rushing Eagle Brigade, they were not in the mood to watch the competition anymore. After all, it was the other team's soldiers who were going to fight for the only championship. The feeling of being eliminated early was quite uncomfortable, but because of their identities, they couldn't just leave. Otherwise, they would be called sore losers. Although they had lost, they couldn't lose their momentum again. If he were to lose in terms of aura, then he would really lose completely. Although the three of them were in a bad mood, they had no choice but to pretend that they didn't care. After a simple rest, Yuan Qingdi walked into the arena first. The brothers of the Dragon War Special Force shouted in unison, "Captain! Come on! Captain! Come on! Come on, Captain!" They repeated it over and over again, without any intention of stopping for even half a second. Simple cheering, all the simple actions made Yuan Qingdi's body burn with a raging fire. He believed that as long as he took it seriously, he would have a chance to compete with Su Yun in the finals. Although it was the honor of the Dragon Brigade, they couldn't always count on the Dragon's fury. The Dragon War Special Force was also an indispensable part of the Dragon Brigade. Honor could also be guarded by them. It was not necessary for the Dragon's Fury Special Forces to guard it, and it was not necessary for Su Yunlai to guard it. At this time, Zhang Bai also walked into the field. He was not flustered by the overwhelming momentum of Yuan Qingdi's home field. Instead, he glanced at Yuan Qingdi's cheerleaders with a disdainful expression. "Your people are quite interesting, aren't they? They are all like girls. Why didn't they wave their garlands around? That would make cheering more stylish." "Cut the crap. If you're scared, just say it. It's not too late to get the hell out of here." Yuan Qing Emperor spat. "Don't cry like a girl later. Then let's try and see who's the real crying girl." As Wang Yi blew the whistle, Zhang Bai made the first move. A strong pressure suddenly burst out from his body. The absolute power of the Grandmaster realm made Yuan Qingdi hold his breath. If he hadn't held his breath, Yuan Qingdi's momentum would have been suppressed by Zhang Bai in an instant. Although Yuan Qing Emperor managed to hold back his anger, he was soon suppressed by Zhang Bai. This kind of suppression was unavoidable. It was beyond the gap between levels, it was huge. Yuan Qingdi was really a persistent person. Everyone could see that Zhang Bai showed more explosive power than before. He seemed to have a natural anger towards the Dragon Brigade. He attacked fiercely, trying to defeat Yuan Qingdi with one strike. Yuan Qingdi would lose face if he lost. Of course, Yuan Qingdi wouldn't lose face like that. Even though he knew that he couldn't defeat Zhang Bai, he still gritted his teeth and withstood Zhang Bai's first wave of fierce attacks. Even if he lost, he couldn't lose badly. The Dragon Brigade couldn't afford to lose face like that. "Brother Flying Dragon, not bad. You can even resist my Tiger Claw. It seems that the Dragon Brigade is really full of talents." Zhang Bai hadn't won yet, but he was invincible. he said provocatively with a relaxed expression. Yuanqing Emperor snorted and smiled disdainfully. My level is just SOSO in the Divine Dragon Troop. Manchurian Tiger. Why don't you show me what you're capable of? I'm afraid you can't take me down with that. But let me tell you, defeating me doesn't mean anything. If you can defeat Yanlong, then you can act like a boss in the Dragon Brigade's territory. Then I won't hold back. Brother Flying Dragon, don't blame me if I hurt you badly. Zhang Bai's tiger claw was quite fierce. He suddenly attacked and tore off Yuan Qingdi's sleeve. Yuan Qingdi's strong arm was also left with a shocking bloody mark. Yuan Qingdi knew that they were starting to get serious. He was afraid that he could only defend himself. Fortunately, Emperor Yuanqing had made the right decision. The first 8 strikes of Zhang Bai's tiger claw art were all extremely powerful. If it weren't for Emperor Yuanqing's defense, he would have been killed already. Zhang Bai did consume a lot of energy. He thought that he could defeat Yuan Qingdi, but he didn't know that Yuan Qingdi straightened his neck and didn't let himself fall. Yuan Qingdi was really persistent. Although Zhang Bai was cruel, he had to admit that he respected Yuan Qingdi a bit more. The more powerful the opponent was, the more serious he was. Zhang Bai respected Yuan Qingdi a bit more, but he still didn't show any mercy. What should be done was done. Injuring the opponent was also a kind of respect for the opponent. After 20 rounds, Yuan Qingdi finally used up his last bit of energy. He couldn't support his body anymore. Even if Zhang Bai stopped attacking, Yuan Qingdi would still fall to the ground. Zhang Bai stopped. He glanced at Wang Yi, as if he was waiting for Wang Yi to announce the end. Yuan Qingdi was still struggling, but the result was obvious. He didn't even have the power to resist, let alone fight back. If he continued, what else could he do but be beaten? Zhang Bai didn't choose to knock him down, which showed his respect for his perseverance. At this point, Wang Yi couldn't help but have a good impression of Zhang Bai. He didn't hesitate and directly announced that Zhang Bai was the winner. Xing Zhe and Guan Liang of Dragon War Special Force rushed forward and carried Yuan Qingdi, who was exhausted, out of the arena. Yuan Qingdi, although defeated, was honorable. Facing a much weaker opponent, he could still stand in the arena until the end, which was enough for people to respect him. Even an opponent like Zhang Bai was respectful. So how could others not be respectful? Flying Dragon is really a talent, Lu Yenshan sighed. Huaxia's soldiers need this kind of spiritual strength first. Lu, you're right. Spiritual strength is the foundation. Yin Guoqiang also admired in his heart. The Dragon Brigade was really hard to deal with. The first round of the second round was over. Wang Yi breathed a sigh of relief. Next was the second round, Yanlong and Su Yin against Water Ghost Zhang Tian. These two could be said to be the two outstanding representatives of the Army Special Forces and the Navy Special Forces. They represented the two special forces, which had been excellent since childhood, and were favored by all the leaders of the country. They entered the arena almost at the same time. Zhang Tian smiled. Captain Yanlong, I've heard a lot about you. This is the first time we've fought against each other. I hope you can give me some advice. It's not advice. We can learn from each other and improve together. Su Yin also smiled. However, I still hope that I can avenge my brothers in the Dragon Brigade. You just defeated our people, so I won't show you any mercy. Chapter 1023. Su Yin was already prepared. He would not underestimate the water ghost Zhang Tian. It could even be said that Su Yin felt that Zhang Tian was more difficult to deal with than Zhang Bai. Because Zhang Tian was a frogman, his daily training was inseparable from water. The softness of water was huge. He could make people understand many things. Even the Grandmaster Zhang Sanfeng understood the principle of using softness to conquer strength, because he played with water in a water tank. The body trained in water was different from the body trained on land. Therefore, Su Yin felt that he needed to be more careful when dealing with Zhang Tian. But Zhang Tian attacked the lower half of the board right from the start, and Su Yin understood his plan. For martial artists, although it could not be said that the most important thing was the lower body, if the lower body was not solid, it would be impossible to achieve anything great. Therefore, the horse stance was the most basic thing. Suyin did not dodge Zhang Tian's autumn wind sweeps the fallen leaves. He knew that Zhang Tian was testing the basics of his lower body to determine how to deal with him. If Suyin dodged, Zhang Tian would definitely have other ways to test Suyin's lower body. Therefore, Suyin did not dodge and allowed Zhang Tian's autumn wind sweeps the fallen leaves to sweep his lower leg bones. Boom! Suyin straightened his body and stood firmly on his lower body. With a 1000 drop, his body stood firmly on the spot. The hard ground under his feet had already been stepped on by Suyin, leaving 2 deep footprints. No matter how Zhang Tian swept his feet, Suyin did not move at all. How could Zhang Tian not be surprised when his lower body was so good? Zhang Tian was shocked. He quickly retreated a few steps and stared at Suyin in surprise. However, he quickly understood that it was normal for Suyin to have such a solid lower body. Previously, when he fought with Gong Jiuxiao, he already knew that the Dragon Brigade's Special Forces members had a solid lower body. However, Zhang Tian's advantage was to attack the opponent's lower body. When the opponent's lower body was stable, it would be very difficult for him to gain any advantage in terms of tactics. Especially when facing an opponent like Suyin. It could be said that he was completely out of tricks. Suyin didn't dodge. He was using his actions to tell Zhang Tian that if he wanted to defeat him, it was impossible to use his unstable lower body to defeat him with soft tactics. Speaking of using gentleness to overcome strength, Suyin was also an expert. He could also use gentleness to the extreme, using gentleness to overcome gentleness. All of Zhang Tian's moves were an attempt to let Suyin explode with ferocious strength. Using the strength and ferociousness of a fist against a member of the Special Forces was no different from striking a stone with an egg. Zhang Tian would not meet force with force, so he could only use gentleness. Unfortunately, Suyin didn't give him a chance. No matter how Zhang Tian guided him, Suyin didn't use any ferocious skills. Even when he was about to put Zhang Tian down with a punch, Suyin didn't make a move. From the beginning, he didn't intend to give Zhang Tian any psychological hope of winning against him. Zhang Tian played with gentleness, but Suyin played with gentleness even more than Zhang Tian. After a dozen rounds, Zhang Tian finally couldn't bear it anymore. Facing Suyin's provocative fighting style, he suddenly changed his fighting style. He gave up on using gentleness to overcome strength that he was good at. He directly picked up a ferocious fist and punched towards Suyin's face. He was trying to catch Suyin off guard. However, Suyin also changed his fighting style the moment Zhang Tian changed his fighting style. The moment Zhang Tian's fist hit Suyin's face, Suyin quickly blasted out an 8 extremities fist. The majestic explosive force instantly sent Zhang Tian's body flying a few meters away. He didn't hold back at all. Zhang Tian continuously retreated a few steps before stabilizing his body. However, he spat out a mouthful of blood. The ferociousness of 8 extremities fist wasn't something that ordinary people could withstand, especially when it was executed by an expert of Suyin's level. Zhang Tian looked at Suyin uneasily. Yin Long, what level of strength have you reached? With your skills, it's impossible for you to still be in the realm of a super expert. Why didn't I feel your aura of pressure? Have you broken through to the Grandmaster realm? Suyin smiled slightly. Why must I release my aura of pressure? That wouldn't be fair to you guys. So you've really reached the Grandmaster realm. Zhang Tian's mouth was wide open. Weren't these 2 Army Special Operations Group a little too King fierce? Even the younger generation had a Grandmaster expert. This was simply unheard of in history, unprecedented. After so many years, it was already rare for someone to break through to the realm of a super expert before the age of 30. And now, the Dragon Brigade and the Sabertooth Brigade actually had their own Grandmaster experts. This was the rhythm of the Navy Special Operations Group being 10 streets ahead of them. It seemed that they still lacked training, and were still living too comfortably. After returning, Zhang Tian would apply to double the amount of special training every day to see who had the chance to surpass the Dragon Brigade and the Sabertooth Brigade. You did it on purpose, Zhang Tian said. He couldn't help but laugh. I understand now. It's probably going to be very difficult for Chief Yin's Sabertooth Brigade to snatch the item from your hands today. So you mean? Suyin raised his eyebrows and asked. Zhang Tian suddenly raised his right hand and said to Wang Yi, "I give up. I admit defeat." There was nothing embarrassing about Zhang Tian admitting defeat. The difference in strength was too big. The people below could see it clearly. If Su Yin wanted to make a move on Zhang Tian, he would have been lying on the ground long ago. Although Zhang Tian's strength wasn't bad, he was still weak. Ying Guoqiang didn't know why, but he started to feel a little nervous. Su Yin was Zhang Bai's final opponent. Although Su Yin didn't show any signs of pressure from the start, making Ying Guoqiang think that he wasn't a grandmaster expert, Ying Guoqiang was still afraid. Quite afraid. It was as if this Su Yin could do anything that was impossible. The 2 rounds of the competition had ended. Yan Long, Su Yin, and the Amur Tiger, Zhang Bai, these 2 people had entered the finals. They would represent the Dragon Brigade and the Sabertooth Brigade in the final competition. At this time, Ying Guoqiang realized that Wan Guangxiao didn't even take out the trophy. At that time, he was unhappy. "Wan, you're not being kind. We're here to win the trophy. Why did you hide it?" Wan Guangxiao snorted. "The trophy is in the showroom. I thought that since you can't win, I wouldn't take it out to stimulate you. If you can win, I'll personally take you to the Hall of Honor to get the trophy. Do you think I'll go back on my word? I'm not the kind of person who can't afford to lose." What he meant was that Ying Guoqiang should be more open and not be a sore loser. If he couldn't afford to lose, then he shouldn't play. Okay. Then I'll wait for you to take me there. I'll personally take the trophy from the Dragon Brigade's Hall of Honor. That's also a memorable way. Ying Guoqiang didn't want to be outdone. "I'm afraid you don't have the ability." Wan Guangxiao crossed his legs. He still had a lot of confidence in Su Yin. The 10-minute break passed very quickly. Zhang Bai had used up a lot of his stamina in the fight with Yuan Qingdi. When he got on the stage again, his breathing was still a little unstable. Su Yin and Zhang Tian had been fighting in a soft and gentle manner. They only used a little stamina at the end, so they didn't feel out of breath at all. They had a clear advantage in terms of stamina. However, Zhang Bai wasn't afraid. He believed that his aura could help him take the lead and win first place. Chapter 1024. I'll return the same words to you. I hope you won't disappoint me. Su Yin was already rubbing his fists, ready to fight. I hope you'll let me have a good fight. That's not too much of a request, is it? Zhang Bai's aura suddenly surged out of his body. Then what are you waiting for? The others aren't here to watch me chat with you. It's useless to talk so much. Whether or not you can win the championship trophy depends on your strength, not your mouth. Yan Long, don't think that just because others are afraid of you, I Zhang Bai won't dare to do anything to you. No matter who you are, I won't be merciful. The strong aura swept over like an invisible wave, whistling toward Su Yin. Normally, after being eroded by the aura, no matter how strong one's spiritual power was, they wouldn't be as confident as they were before. Zhang Bai's previous opponent had already explained everything. Now Su Yin's result would be the same. This was the most obvious difference between a grandmaster and a super expert. Ying Guoqiang was naturally excited when he saw that his power soldier had made the first move. Originally, he wanted to say something to provoke Wan Guangxiao, who was sitting beside him, but in the end he chose to remain silent. It wasn't that he didn't want to show off, but he wanted to use his actions to tell Wan Guangxiao that no matter how much he said, it was useless. Fists would always prove the highest strength of a team more than words. Clearly, Wan Guangxiao didn't feel nervous at all because of the opening. Instead, a subtle smile appeared on his face. This kind of confident expression was probably only possible because the opponent on the stage was Su Yin. Wan Guangxiao could face it so easily, right? Su Yin naturally didn't disappoint Wan Guangxiao. Zhang Bai's aura swept over him, but Su Yin still didn't move. Zhang Bai was a little proud. He had the aura, but his opponent didn't. Although Su Yin looked calm, Zhang Bai was very sure that Su Yin's aura had been weakened by his aura. If he didn't make a move now, when would he? He wanted to destroy his opponent's aura in one go, make the Dragon Brigade admit defeat, and make Wan Guangxiao obediently bring out the championship trophy, and personally hand it over to Ying Guoqiang. However, before Zhang Bai could continue his dream, Su Yun's body suddenly erupted with an aura that was several times stronger than before after that wave of pressure. That kind of aura was so strong that it was not something that Zhang Bai's aura could compare to. Zhang Bai wasn't the only one whose legs went soft. Even the members of the mystical dragon brigade below the stage held their breaths as they felt the powerful aura. They couldn't help but sigh. It turned out that their flame dragon captain was already so powerful. They couldn't even feel the difference between Su Yun's aura and Wang Yi's aura. Among the few leaders, the one with the biggest eyes was naturally Yin Guoqiang. The other leaders were also in disbelief. Only the calm one Guangxiao smiled, as if he was sitting on a fishing platform. He knew the level of his people best. Want to fight with him? It was still too early. If one were to divide the aura of a strong person into levels, one could use the level of wind as an analogy. Level 1 aura made people feel a soft wind. Smoke indicated the direction of the wind, and there was no flying foam. The level 2 oppressive aura made people feel a light breeze. It felt like there was wind, and the small peaks were not broken. Level 3 aura made people feel a light wind. Flags were unfurled, and small peaks were broken. Level 4 aura was equivalent to a gentle wind. It could blow up dust, small waves and white foam. After level 5 aura, it was a strong wind. Small trees swayed, and the waves broke the peaks. Level 6 aura was a strong wind. Electric wires made noise, and waves blew foam. Higher levels of aura required a higher level of strength. Level 7 aura could be said to be a strong wind. It made it difficult for people to walk, and waves of white foam formed. Level 8 aura was a strong wind. It could break tree branches and waves were high. Level 9 aura was like a strong wind. It could cause small damaged houses to roll back the peaks. Level 10 aura was like a strong wind. It could uproot trees and cause waves to roll and roar. Level 11 aura was a storm. The damage was widespread, and the peaks of the waves were all flying foam. Level 12 aura could be said to be a typhoon. The destruction was huge, and the waves were monstrous. Those who could have level 11 or 12 aura were almost all top masters of the Master Realm. In that case, even Wang Yi, a master of level 8 of the Master Realm, could only achieve level 10 aura. It could uproot trees and raise huge waves. On the other hand, Su Yun's coercion was already at the 7th level. Although it was only a gale-level coercion, compared to Zhang Bai's pressure which was only at the 2nd level, there was already a huge gap. Only those who felt Su Yun's aura would realize that Zhang Bai's aura was just a light wind. It was nothing at all. This was undoubtedly a huge blow to Zhang Bai. He couldn't bear this huge gap at all. His original self-confidence instantly fell into the abyss. He realized that the gap between the two of them was one that he needed to look up to. That sense of loss and inferiority almost instantly took away all of Zhang Bai's aura. It wasn't that Zhang Bai was a coward. His aura suddenly disappeared completely, because Su Yun's aura was so strong that he couldn't bear it. The gap. Yin Guoqiang sighed. The Dragon Brigade was indeed the Dragon Brigade. Talent was talent. He was holding Zhang Bai, who had just broken through to level 1 of the Master Realm, as Kuei Bao. However, he didn't expect that Yan Long of the Dragon Brigade had the strength of at least level 4 of the Master Realm. The battle of auras had ended. What should start still had to start. Zhang Bai, whose aura had been completely defeated, no longer had his previous bravery. During the battle with Su Yun, he was at a disadvantage for almost every second. Compared to his previous battles, he was at an advantage for every second. This created a huge gap. The Dragon Brigade's special forces cheered loudly. Zhang Bai, who originally didn't have much of a chance of winning, could only rely on his mental strength and perseverance to persevere. He didn't want to fall. His thinking was very simple. He couldn't lose in an ugly way. He had to lose with dignity. Finally, Yin Guoqiang couldn't stand it anymore. After all, Zhang Bai was his beloved general. How could he bear to see him get beaten up? Sigh, so be it if he admitted defeat. This was the second time the Saber-Tooth Brigade had come so close to the championship trophy. The first time was many, many years ago. It was Yin Guoqiang himself. In the end, he lost to Wan Guangxiao. And now so much time had passed. Dozens of years had passed. The saber-toothed tiger had come so close to the championship again. But Zhang Bai still lost to Su Yin by a huge margin. From the moment the pressure exploded, it was already destined that this would be the outcome. Some things were always like this. The sooner it ended, the sooner people could let go of their expectations and reluctance. Guoqiang, I'm sorry. Wan Guangxiao chuckled. There are some honors that the Dragon Brigade won't give up. Come back in 10 years. Don't show off in front of me, Wan. You've won. If you're happy, then treat us to a good drink tonight. Let us congratulate you too. Yin Guoqiang said. Old brothers would always be old brothers. No matter how competitive they were at the beginning, when everything was over, they would still sincerely congratulate each other. No matter what, although they were divided into the Dragon Brigade and Saber-Tooth Brigade, the Air Force Special Forces and the Marine Special Forces, they all had one goal: to protect the country. Chapter 1025. The Dragon Brigade's name was once again engraved on the trophy of the Special Warfare Elite Tournament that was held once every 10 years. This time, it was still the Dragon Fury team that protected the honor of the Dragon Brigade. The names of Yan Long and Su Yin would be written into the history of the Dragon Brigade, leaving behind a thick mark. Perhaps 100 years later, what happened today would still be talked about enthusiastically. Those future Special Forces members who were only 5, 7, and 8 years old also watched today's competition. This battle was like announcing the return of the big shot, who had caused a stir in their hearts when he was expelled that year. In the eyes of these underage guys, being able to enter the Dragon Fury team was a kind of honor, something that they could be very proud of. However, the Special Forces would not let them choose. This required them to draw lots when they were 10 years old, to become a fresh member of a Special Force team. Only by drawing the lot of the Dragon Fury team could they possibly enter the Dragon Fury team. A lot of things were arranged by fate. It did not mean that you could not become an elite if you did not enter the Dragon Fury team. Gong Jiuxiao from Long Wei was an example. He was also an elite of the Dragon Brigade, and also an elite who had made many achievements. He had always been competitive with the Dragon Fury team because he did not draw the lot of the Dragon Fury team that year. Now he no longer thought so. When Su Yin won the 5th elite tournament today, he suddenly realized that the honor of any Special Forces team belonged to the Dragon Brigade. It belonged to each and every one of them. This was called teamwork. This was called unity. Of course, the celebration banquet was indispensable. Wan Guangxiao's mood was as good as 10 years ago today. The bureau chief had already spoken. Tonight, during the drawing of lots, one person from the special battle team had to stay behind to keep a clear head and be ready to deal with any unexpected situations. The others could drink appropriately, and everyone from the Dragon's Fury special battle team, who had defended the honor of the Divine Dragon team, could get drunk and not care about anything else. After drawing lots, the unlucky Longjin Special Forces drew the best lot that required them to keep a clear head. The brothers of the Longjin Special Forces were quite envious of the others, but they couldn't help it. Who made their captain have bad luck? Since they were on duty, they had to be on duty. They were Special Forces and had to deal with all kinds of unexpected situations at any time. So now they had no time to think about drinking and celebrating. What they needed to do was to stay on duty and maintain vigilance at all times. Wan Guangxiao said a lot of things proudly. He was proud. He had the right to be proud. Moreover, he wanted to be proud. If he wasn't proud, who would be proud? It had been 50 years, 5 times. There were already 5 Dragon Brigade's names engraved on the trophy of the Elite Combat Tournament. He patted his chest and said to the other leaders, "The name of our Dragon Brigade will definitely be engraved all over the trophy." Yin Guoqiang was quite unconvinced. He said that 10 years later, as long as he was still working in the Saber-Tooth Brigade, he would definitely come and see the Saber-Tooth Brigade take away the trophy with his own eyes. Once Yin Guoqiang spoke, the others also didn't want to be outdone. Wei Lantian and Horfei vowed to fight for the glory of the Air Force Special Forces. Lu Yenshan and Qi Tianda also shouted that their Marine Special Forces would definitely not give in. The 6 leaders of the Special Operations Group who were originally drinking happily began to quarrel again. No one was willing to give in to the other. Then let's talk with alcohol. Let's see who will be the first to drink. Boxes of Erguotu and boxes of Yanjing beer were all available. All of them had a huge amount of alcohol. As the leaders drank in full swing, their subordinates naturally wouldn't fall behind. The Manchurian tiger, Zhang Bai, carried a big bowl and walked in front of Su Yun. He had lost in the competition, but he definitely wouldn't admit defeat in the drinking arena. Yan Long, you may have won against me today, but in the future, I will train even harder. After 3 to 5 years, if there's a chance, we can learn from each other again. You are the role model of our special forces. Let me toast to you. The Northerners were forthright. They definitely didn't play tricks when drinking. If they drank, they would drink thoroughly. Su Yin took a bowl of the same size, and let Qianfeng fill it to the brim. He raised it and clinked glasses with Zhang Bai. Cheers. Let's not go home until we're drunk today. We're all brothers, no one can play tricks. As soon as Su Yin said this, all the people who were drinking in small cups poured the alcohol in their cups into their bowls. Then they picked up the wine bottle nearby and filled it to the brim. In addition to Zhang Bai, Murong Bai, Kong Duan, Yang Wuzi, and Zhang Tian also carried big bowls and surrounded them. Everyone raised their bowls and drank together. Although they said that they wanted to compete in drinking capacity, they were all very happy in their hearts. This was called heroes cherishing heroes. The leaders drank even more than they did. All of them were blushing as they talked about how powerful their own people were. Don't look at how all of them were chatting and laughing normally. Once they started protecting their own people, none of them would be willing to be outdone. Wang Yi kept pouring alcohol for the leaders at the side. He no longer had the intention to show off his power in the afternoon. He was also very respectful to the other leaders. After all, they were able to get to where they were today because they had made great contributions to Huaxia. It could even be said that without them, it would be difficult to say that there would be such a stable life in the new society. This was not an alarmist talk. Many dangerous things had already been silently resolved by these sharp blades of the nation. That was why there was today's stability and harmony. The celebration banquet that belonged to the Dragon Fury team also belonged to the Dragon Brigade, and the celebration banquet that belonged to the Dragon Brigade also belonged to the entire Huaxia Special Operations Group. The celebration banquet of the entire Huaxia Special Operations Group belonged to the entire Huaxia. It belonged to all Huaxia people. The glory of the trophy was small, but the glory of the country was big. If today's competition wasn't for the trophy, but for Turtle Island, perhaps everyone would have exploded with more than twice their usual strength. Wine had to be drunk bowl by bowl. Rice had to be eaten mouthfuls by mouthfuls, and training had to continue day by day. All of them would still continue to improve. One day, all of them would break through to the Grandmaster realm. At that time, they would be like Su Yun, possessing an aura that would frighten the enemy. Of course, Su Yun also knew that he needed to constantly improve and break through. There would come a day when he would break through the Earth Xian realm, or even the Sky Xian realm. There would come a day when his coercion would break through the 12th level, and refine into a domineering aura that would cause his enemies to tremble in fear. The celebration banquet lasted from 5:30 p.m. to 11 p.m. Obviously, this was the most relaxing summer night for the Dragon Brigade in 10 years. Although autumn was coming soon, the weather in Yanjing didn't feel cold at all. It was like a furnace, like a sauna. Air conditioning was definitely a luxury for the special forces, but they were already used to this kind of heat. Even in the tropical rainforest where the temperature was as high as 50 degrees, as long as there was water to ensure that they didn't dehydrate, they could hide for 3 to 5 days without a problem. No matter how hot the weather in Yanjing was, it wasn't as hot as 40 degrees. The guys who were dizzy from drinking were still sleeping soundly. Su Yun drank too much. She really drank too much. No matter how good her alcohol tolerance was, no matter how much she was trained to be immune to alcohol, she could not withstand the attacks of Zhang Bai and the others. Because she had been busy the whole day, she did not have the time to get someone to arrange Su Yun's dormitory. In the end, it was Beauty Yu, who kept her head clear, who carried Su Yun back to the dormitory. She did not want Su Yun to go back with the group of men and get drunk. If she was thirsty, she would not even have a drink. Chapter 10:26. Tonight was particularly quiet. It seemed that even God hoped that the Special Forces members who were tired all year round could have a good sleep tonight. It had to be said that these Special Forces members really didn't have the opportunity to wake up naturally after drinking so much all year round. The brothers of the Longjin Special Forces silently contributed, guarding the other Special Forces brothers who enjoyed the benefits tonight, and they didn't complain at all. This was professionalism, this was responsibility, compared to the people in the company who were complaining about working a little more overtime than others. What kind of breadth of mind was this? Even if the brothers were full and went to sleep, they still had to hold the steel guns in their hands tightly and stand with their legs straight in all the places that needed their eyes to monitor and guard. The chiefs of the other brigades were also drunk by Wan Guangxiao and Wang Yi. They were sent to the guest house by the driver with their unconscious Special Forces members to spend the night. Of course, Suyun didn't know some things at all, because this was already the second night he left. He hadn't contacted Lin Gu and Kevin Matthew, which made them more or less worried. Although Suyun also specifically said that he wouldn't be back for a while, and that some things would take some time to deal with. But Lin Gu still couldn't hold back and dialed Suyun's phone. He called at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and 11 o'clock again, but Suyun didn't hear it at all. At that time, he was already surrounded by Zhang Bai and the others. He was only focused on drinking. Now it was already past midnight. Lin Gu, who was getting more and more worried, dialed Suyun's phone again. At this time, Yumarin just took off Suyun's coat and helped Suyun wipe the alcohol on his face and the sweat on his body. When the phone rang, Yumarin realized that the other party must have something important. Otherwise, he wouldn't call in the middle of the night. After thinking about it again and again, Yumarin decided to connect the phone for him without Suyun's consent. Although she definitely couldn't help with anything, at least she could let the other party know about Suyun's current situation. Hello. Yumarin picked up the phone and asked carefully. Brother, I've been calling you the whole night. Why didn't you pick up? Where did you go? Lin Gu wanted to ask him a lot of questions, but halfway through, he realized that something was wrong. Why was it a woman's voice? F***ck, Brother Yun wouldn't be so ungrateful, right? Did he go to earthly paradise by himself? Did he leave his brother at Ma Sanner's place to drink cuting tea to refresh himself? For a moment, Lin Gu didn't even know what he should say. He was at a loss for a long time. Then he said, Who are you? Where is my brother? Are you looking for Suyun? Yumarin said, That Suyun, he drank too much today. I'm afraid he won't wake up now. If you have anything, you can tell me first. I will pass it to him when he wakes up tomorrow. Is that okay? Lin Gu was alert when he heard it. Girl, don't think that you can fool me with your sweet voice. I know how much my brother can drink. Who are you? Why is my brother's phone in your hands? I warn you, don't do anything that you shouldn't do. Otherwise, I won't spare you. I'm also Suyun's friend. I'm not a bad person. Yumarin said helplessly. I'm telling the truth. He is indeed drunk now. I also know how much he can drink. But no matter how much he can drink, he can't drink Earbook with 58% alcohol as water. It's up to you to believe it or not. Anyway, I will ask him to call you back tomorrow morning. That's all for now. You wait a minute. When he heard that the other party was going to hang up, Lin Gu hurriedly shouted. Then I won't trouble you. You tell me where you are. I will pick up my brother. He drank too much and I will take care of him. There's no need to trouble you. Is that okay? You just give me an address. I will rush over immediately. You can't come in even if you arrive. This is not a place where anyone can come and go as they wish. Yumarin couldn't explain clearly. She couldn't speak carelessly, so her tone was a little anxious. Lin Gu also grimaced and was a little impatient. What kind of place is this? Isn't it a place where anyone can come and go as they wish? Even Heavenly Earth doesn't have such a big tone. I will tell you this. Even if you tell me that you are in Zongnanhai, I will rush over without saying anything. I won't enter the door, okay? You send the person out for me. I will pay, okay? 100,000? 200,000? When Yumarin heard this, it was useless to explain more to him. She simply hung up the phone. Suyun still needed to drink some honey water to dissolve the alcohol. She didn't have the time to explain so much to a rash guy on the phone. When the phone was called again, Marin simply turned off the phone directly. Out of sight, out of mind. Lin Ge called again, and was told that the phone was turned off. At that time, he was restless. He knew Suyin too well. How could Suyin drink too much? There must be a conspiracy in this matter. No, he absolutely couldn't sit still and wait for death. He must find a way to solve it. Kid, don't be so restless. There are some things that are useless even if you are anxious. Ma Sanner was open-minded. He didn't have so many worries. The person who answered the phone was a girl. You should be glad. Even if something happens, Suyin won't be at a disadvantage, right? If the other party was a man, it wouldn't be too late to worry about Suyun's chrysanthemum. But the other party is a woman. What are you afraid of? Because there must be a problem with this. How can my brother be drunk? Lin Ge said. There must be something wrong with this matter. Ma Sanner nodded. I know his alcohol tolerance, but you have to see who he is drinking with. What if it is a group of people who can drink as much as him? How could he not get drunk? He would definitely be drunk to the point of confusion. If you ask me, you are thinking too much. Suyin went to the place he should go, the place he is familiar with. So you can't just go to that place casually. Lin Ge was stunned. Are you saying, my brother went to the Dragon Brigade? Not bad, kid. You even know about this. Ma Sanner sighed. Of course Lin Ge knew. At least, he almost stayed in the Dragon Brigade when he was young. Because he wasn't suitable, he was sent to Lu Xuanji by Wang Yi. So, when Lin Ge called just now, the person who answered the phone was Sister Marin. Lin Ge wanted to slap himself. Why didn't he think of asking? Now that the phone was turned off, he couldn't confirm it. If he had confirmed it earlier, he wouldn't have to be so conflicted. I believe that the heavens help the worthy. Kevin Matthew said. Pigeon brother Ma Sanner is right. We are worrying too much. Yes. Who is Brother Yin? He will definitely be fine. Chang drank the Qting tea in big gulps. If you are still worried, then let's go to that whatever brigade and prove it personally. Ma Sanner glared. Kid, you are really not afraid of death. That place is really not a place that anyone can enter casually. If you want to die, I won't accompany you. Trespassing into a top-secret military base was punishable by death. Everyone there is a sharpshooter. If you don't want to die, I advise you to stay here obediently. Chapter 1027. When Suyin woke up the next morning, he felt sore and weak all over. Alcohol was food, but alcohol was also a pest. If he hadn't drank so much, Suyin wouldn't have felt so sore all over. The army should really ban alcohol. If he drank too much, he wouldn't be able to fight. After Suyin dragged his tired body out of bed, he realized that he had spent the night at Marin's place. He should have asked for a room when he saw Wang Yi yesterday. As a man, how could he sleep in Marin's place? If Suyin still remembered what he did last night under the influence of alcohol, he would definitely regret it even more. Of course, this also had something to do with Marin, who told her to wipe Suyun's body. Men would become much more sensitive after drinking a little alcohol, and their unconscious actions would be uncontrollable. So after Marin hung up on Lin Ge last night, she half pushed and half forced Suyin into bed. When Suyin gulped down a large cup of cold water on the bedside table, he finally regained consciousness. Otherwise, Marin wouldn't have left the dormitory early in the morning without knowing how she came back. This time, it wasn't to save someone. Marin didn't have an excuse for herself. She could only find an excuse to take a day off from the brigade and hurriedly leave the headquarters. Today, she just wanted to go shopping alone and sit on the outdoor bench under the World Trade Center's staircase to drink a cup of coffee and empty her mind for a while. When Suyin woke up, it was indeed not early. It was already past 9 in the morning. He didn't know if the other members of Dragon's Fury were also sleeping, or if they had already woken up to train. When Suyin picked up his phone, he saw a note left by Marin. Someone called you last night. Please reply. I went out to do something today. I left the dormitory key on the table. Suyin turned on his phone and saw several missed calls from Lin Ge. He knew that this kid was definitely worried about him and didn't even have time to wash his face before calling back. Are you Sister Yu Marin? Linga didn't sleep well the whole night, so even though it was past 9 in the morning, he was still lazing around in bed. When he saw that it was Su Yun's number calling, he picked up the phone and asked the question that he had been wanting to ask yesterday. Your head. Su Yun. It's me. Linga rolled over to Ma Sener's simple guest room and squatted down. Chang, who was on the top bunk, also stuck his head out. It couldn't be helped. Who asked Ma Sener to be a lazy host? The sun was already shining brightly, and he didn't even get up to prepare breakfast for the guests. They just lazed around in bed. The only person who got up and left was Kevin Matthew. He said that he was going for a morning run. Linga repeatedly stopped him, saying that running in the morning was tantamount to slow suicide. The PM too. 5 in Yanjing was the most advanced biological weapon that caused lung cancer. However, Kevin Matthew still smiled and insisted on leaving. He wasn't insistent on running in the morning, but he was very interested in Yanjing's mornings. Brother, where have you been for the past 2 days? We haven't heard from you. Linga said. If there's anything I can help you with, it's fine. Did you go to the Dragon Brigade? How did you know I was here? Su Yin was stunned. Linga shrugged. He didn't say that it was Ma Sener who guessed it. Instead, he took credit for it. I'm so smart. I just need to use my brain to know where you are. Do you want me to go over? No need. Su Yin. Pass the phone to Matthew. I have something to ask him. Linga scratched his head. Matthew said he went for a morning run and hasn't returned yet. Then forget it. Su Yin. When he comes back, help me tell him. Chu Zigua is suspected of leaking confidential information and has been locked up under special surveillance. It's impossible for people to meet him casually. I'll go take a look and see if there's a need for him to meet Chu Zigua. If there's a need, with his status as Kevin Matthew, he might be able to get an exception. However, there's definitely a price for this exception. A talent is a talent. There will be people who want to stay no matter where they go. Linga sighed. So, our Huaxia also wants to keep this talent? Su Yin sighed. I hope that he can stay in Huaxia, but it's his choice to stay or leave. Alright, I won't talk to you anymore. That's all for now. Wait, brother. There's something I have to ask you. Lingo hurriedly said to prevent Su Yin from hanging up. You and beautiful sister, last night did you do that? F***ck off. Su Yin laughed and cursed as he hung up the phone. This kid was really gossipy. Lingo laughed as he listened to Su Yin hang up the phone. He guessed that there was no running away from this matter. After all, Brother Yin and Yu Marin were childhood sweethearts. It was normal for things to develop to this point. Chang perked up. What's going on? Brother Yin had a romantic encounter again? TSK. If only I had 1% of this luck, I wouldn't still be single now. If you don't go to nightclubs to fool around in the future, you'll be able to meet more decent girls. Linge acted as if he had been there before. He didn't know how Fangya and Sister Shuang were doing on Qingdao. If it weren't for Chang looking for trouble, he wouldn't have to come all the way to Yanjing. Sigh, it was all Chang's fault for being too impulsive. Chang nodded. What he said made sense. There were no decent girls in nightclubs. Of course, he didn't mean to condemn everyone. Even if there were some decent girls, they wouldn't be so indecent as to have a real relationship with the men in nightclubs. So it's better to take the plane more when dating. Chang touched his chin and sighed. Fly your head. Linge shook his head in annoyance and helplessness. Okay, we should get up. Ma Saner is determined not to treat us to breakfast. We can't starve like this, right? When the two of them got up and were ready to go out, Kevin Matthew came back with a pile of breakfast in his hands. Yanjing's breakfast is still the best. Chestnut sesame seed cake, hanging sesame seed cake, donkey meat roast, youtiao, crispy egg cake. There's also rice porridge, mixed bean porridge, millet porridge, soy milk, tea soup, noodle tea, fried noodles, cut cakes. I'm dazzled just looking at it. What's so good about it? Lin Guo and Chang didn't understand. Isn't this normal? Ma Saner also got up and walked out when he heard that there was food. He picked up a youtiao and stuffed it into his mouth without even brushing his teeth. Foreigners are making a fuss out of nothing. In America, breakfast is nothing more than toast, cereal or coffee, milk, and pancakes. It's not as good as huaxia. Matthew, this is only Yanjing. There are so many different kinds of breakfast in the country. Changsha's rice noodles, Wuhan's hot and dry noodles, Hanzhong's hot noodles, Lanzhou's beef ramen, Xi'an's spicy soup, Guangzhou's porridge, Tianjin's pancakes, Hangzhou's steamed buns, Nanjing's duck blood vermicelli. Stop, stop, stop. Just stop. Lin Gu hurriedly shouted. My saliva is about to drip out. How do you want the international friends to live? Kevin Matthew licked his lips. I'm hungry. After I'm done with this, I'll definitely eat all the delicacies in the country. Chapter 10:28. Su Yun couldn't be bothered to look for Yu Marin. After a quick wash-up, he hurriedly went to look for Wan Guangxiao. He had already protected the Dragon Brigade's honor. Wan Guangxiao should also keep his word and bring him to see Chu Zigua, the former legendary figure, who was now locked up in a secret prison. Some things weren't easy to explain. Su Yun also knew this. As for why Chu Zigua was locked up, that was perhaps something that couldn't be explained. Wan Guangxiao couldn't explain it to Su Yun. He promised Su Yun that he could go see Chu Zigua as a form of warning. He wanted to let Su Yun know the severity of leaking state secrets. After all, during the period when Su Yun was away from the Dragon Brigade, Su Yun's identity was more or less known to the people around him. He was also very clear about the incident where two girls broke into the Dragon Brigade to look for Su Yun. If it weren't for the fact that they were innocent because they didn't know anything, they would have been locked up a long time ago. Therefore, although some of Su Yun's identity was already known, it hadn't reached the point where he didn't bring any danger or trouble to the country or the organization. It wasn't enough to warrant punishment. Su Yun was also a sensible person. He knew what he should do and what he shouldn't do. Wan Guangxiao brought him to see Chu Zigua to let Su Yun see the consequences of doing something that threatened the safety of the country, the organization, and his comrades. Chu Zigua's achievements were quite high. However, because of a moment of mistake, his life was completely ruined. If it wasn't for that mistake back then, he would have already been famous. He was already famous and accepted the worship of all the younger generation. However, one mistake caused everlasting regret. Not only did he lose the opportunity to accept the worship of the younger generation, he also lost his freedom. As for what he did, Su Yun didn't ask. Wan Guangxiao also didn't say anything. It was as if all of this was taboo that no one wanted to touch. Although Su Yun was also curious, he still resisted the urge to ask. After all, this wasn't something to be proud of. Wan Guangxiao might not give him an answer. Under Wan Guangxiao's lead, Su Yun and the others drove to the secret prison, where Chu Zigua was. Although it was called a prison, it was actually a small Western-style building on the outskirts of Beijing. If it was placed in the Third Ring Road, it could easily be sold for 100 million. From the looks of it, although Chu Zigua had done it, he also had countless achievements. For him, he wasn't locked up in a prison. Instead, he was under house arrest. If he wasn't under house arrest in this small bungalow, his life would be the same as that of other retired cadres. The car drove into the courtyard of Chu Zigua's bungalow. Several guards in charge of guarding the place saluted Wan Guangxiao and Su Yun, who got out of the car. Wan Guangxiao nodded. Su Yun returned the salute and continued to follow Wan Guangxiao into the room. Su Yun was very surprised. Finally, when Wan Guangxiao was about to push the door open, he asked, "Chief, with just these few people in a house, how can they keep Senior Chu under control? If he wants to leave, isn't it very simple? If he hadn't destroyed all his cultivation, we really wouldn't have been able to keep him under control." Wan Guangxiao's voice sounded a little heavy. His entire life's cultivation had been destroyed. When Su Yun heard this, he sucked in a breath of cold air. How much courage did it take to completely destroy one's cultivation? As a master, this kind of pain was worse than death. Su Yun's days of losing his cultivation had already been tormented to the point that he was neither a human nor a ghost. How did Chu Zigua persevere? This is his own suggestion, Wan Guangxiao said before opening the door. He knows very well that if he didn't destroy his cultivation, Huaxia wouldn't be able to keep him under control. The only place in the world that can keep him is the prison for serious criminals on Marty Franz Island. But he wants to stay in Huaxia to repent. Anyway, it's a lifetime of imprisonment. If he goes to the prison for serious criminals on Marty Franz Island, he'll be waiting for death. If he stays in Huaxia, he'll also be waiting for death. It's better to destroy his cultivation and finally die in Huaxia. That'll be like a fallen leaf returning to its roots. The prison for serious criminals on Marty Franz Island was not a place where anyone could go as they wished. Everyone there was a serious criminal. The prison was divided into 5 levels. The deepest level, the deep-sea prison, was even more frightening. The criminals there could be described as extremely vicious. They were held in the prison for serious criminals organized by the joint organization of various countries in a place closest to hell, never to see the sun. Of course, the prison guards were also very powerful soldiers from various countries. Each level had different levels of guards. The lowest level of criminals, the people on the first level of the prison, were at least supermasters of the 7th or 8th level. The lower the level of the prison, the more powerful the people. It wasn't that Chu Zigua was afraid of the prison for serious criminals on Marty Franz Island. The act of destroying one's own cultivation was more difficult to do than being locked in the prison for serious criminals on Marty Franz Island. He was sincerely repenting. He knew very well that no one wanted to lock him up in Marty Franz Island. This was the only way to make him thoroughly reflect on himself. Su Yin was filled with emotions. A legendary person was indeed a legendary person. His actions were so incomprehensible. The door opened. The outside looked bright and beautiful, but there was no luxurious or high-end furniture inside. Su Yin even saw through the entire hall at a glance. An old man with a shaved head, wearing a gray shirt and pants, was sitting cross-legged with his back to them, facing the wall and reflecting. This was the current state of Chu Zigua's life. A hard bed, a dining table, and a few chairs were all the belongings of this small bungalow. This was Chu Zigua's own request. He said that he was here to reflect on himself, not to enjoy his life. He needed to punish himself in this way. Master. Wan Guangxiao suddenly spoke. Su Yin really didn't expect Chu Zigua to be Wan Guangxiao's master. Didn't I say that if there's nothing, don't come to my place? Chu Zigua, who was wearing a gray shirt, didn't look back. He was still sitting cross-legged facing the wall, thinking about something. After about 10 seconds of silence, he said again, "Who's the person you brought?" Wan Guangxiao finally said, "Su Yin." "Oh, so it's that kid." Chu Zigua still didn't look back. "Kid, do you see what I look like now? Don't do things on impulse in the future. There are some things that you absolutely can't do, or even think about, because once you touch that taboo, you'll have to repent for the rest of your life. A person's life is limited. Wasting it on these things is equivalent to wasting it." Su Yin will remember Elder Chu's words. Su Yin nodded seriously. Chu Zigua finally turned around. Old age and the loss of his cultivation had already caused Chu Zigua's skin and flesh to become flabby. His forehead was full of wrinkles, and his eyes were sunken deep. "Master, the Dragon Brigade won the Elite Special Forces competition yesterday," Wan Guangxiao said. "Su Yin won. Kid, you did well." Chu Zigua simply praised Su Yin. Then he said to Wan Guangxiao, "You didn't come here just to show off your achievements to me, right? If you have something to say, just say it." Wan Guangxiao looked at Su Yin and didn't say anything. Instead, he turned his head and walked to the side. Chapter 1029. Su Yin paused for a moment to organize his words before saying, "Senior Chu, I want to ask you about someone. If I have offended you in any way, please forgive me. I want to do my best to fulfill my promise to my friend. If you don't want to say it, you don't have to force yourself to say it. Kid, don't be so wishy-washy. You don't have to care about my feelings. I'm just an old sinner." Hee hee, Chu Zigua laughed. "If there's something I don't want to say, I won't say it. At my age, I won't make things difficult for myself for no reason. You can just say it. At most, you'll make me flip the table and chase you out. What do you think?" "That's good." Su Yin saw that Chu Zigua was an open-minded person and not a stubborn old antique. He dared to speak boldly. You should know about Kevin Matthew. He's an American Huaxia. His father is from Huaxia. Because he was in America for many years, he fell in love with an American girl and they had him. He grew up in America. Chu Zigua was startled and slowly said, "Kid, do you know how many years I've been here? I really don't know about you young people and the new news outside. I really don't know about the rising stars." "Of course, I'm not asking about him," Su Yin said. "I want to ask about his father." Chu Zigua shook his head. "I don't even know about him. How can I know about his father? Kid, I think you've come to the wrong person for the answer you want. On the surface, his father's identity is an American agent. But in reality, he's a member of the Huaxia Special Forces investigating the American government's surveillance of Huaxia. His surname is Ma." As Su Yin spoke, he became a little agitated. "Senior Chu, I think it's impossible that you haven't heard of him, right?" Chu Zigua was still expressionless as he shook his head. Once a person gets older, they will become forgetful. They will forget some things and people from the past. Kid, before I flip the table over, you'd better not ask anymore. Senior Chu, this matter is very important to Kevin Matthew. Su Yin, there's no way you don't know. Because the only clue he could find was you. He even has the address of your house, which he found among his father's belongings. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone through so much trouble to find you. Chu Zigua closed his eyes. After a while, he slowly opened his eyes. I really don't want to talk about this. That child was able to find me. Perhaps it was a kind of fate. If I were him, I would also want to find the person who betrayed his father and end him with my own hands. Only then can my deceased father rest in peace. These words really shocked Wan Guangxiao, who was walking to the side. If it wasn't for the mistake I made back then, his father wouldn't have been. Chu Zigua choked on his words for a long time. Wan Guangxiao walked over with some surprise. Shizuan, who is it? Dark Dragon. Chu Zigua's expression was full of heartache. Dark Dragon Mayu. Guangxiao, I won't hide it from you. If Mayu hadn't been arranged to go to America, the person who did this investigation would have been you. He went for 10 whole years to break into the inner circle, but because of that unforgivable mistake I made, all of this was ruined. He was one of my most valued disciples. How come I don't know this person? Wan Guangxiao was a bit surprised. Dark Dragon, he was clearly a member of the Dragon Brigade. Moreover, he was a fellow disciple of the same sect, yet he didn't know him. Chu Zigua shook his head. Dark Dragon belongs to the Dragon Brigade's Dark Department. I'm the only one in control of this department. None of you know his true identity. After this incident, the Dragon Brigade no longer had a dark department, and there was no Dark Dragon. If it wasn't for my mistake back then, the one who exposed America's Prism Gate incident wouldn't have been Snowden. Actually, America's National Security Agency's top-secret electronic surveillance program didn't start in 2007. It was even earlier. But that evidence was in Dark Dragon's hands, so Dark Dragon was assassinated. It was you who exposed his identity. Su Yin said in disbelief. Wasn't he one of your most valued disciples? How did you? At the time I hesitated, but under the threat of my family's lives, I finally gave up on righteousness. Who could understand Chu Zigua's heartache? His expression was twisted with pain. It was also at that time that I decided that all of the Special Forces members needed to be free of attachments. This kind of choice is very difficult to make. Only when it happens to oneself can you understand this pain. Wan Guangxiao had never heard of this before, so he was also quite shocked today. If God gave me another chance, I definitely wouldn't do this. Chu Zigua said. I would rather be a sinner in the eyes of my family than be a sinner in the eyes of my country. This sin can't be redeemed. Su Yin and Wan Guangxiao didn't say anything. It was definitely not easy to bear this kind of psychological pressure. Chu Zigua suddenly laughed. Ha ha ha, if I can let Mayu's child end me, for me, it might really be the best kind of relief. Kid, bring him here, and let me end it once and for all. Absolutely not. Wan Guangxiao refused immediately. Master, even if it was your fault, it has been so many years. You have been using your own repentance to make up for it. Suyin also had the same idea as Wan Guangxiao. Senior Chu, I believe that Matthew only wants the truth. Sometimes people's wrong choices are also forced. I believe he can understand. Understand? Ha ha ha, kid, you really know how to comfort people. What if this thing happened to you? Chu Zigua said. What if it's your father? Suyin shook his head. I also want to know what it feels like to have a father. Unfortunately, I don't have the chance to know this feeling at all. At first, I thought you came to me to ask about your father. Fortunately, it's not. Otherwise, I really don't know how to answer. Chu Zigua had learned a lot of things over the years. While he was carrying a felony, he was also relaxed. My father. Suyan's mood suddenly became nervous. What do you know? Chu Zigua was startled. Didn't I say that if you ask me, I really don't know how to answer? However, there is one person who may be able to answer you. It's just that I don't know if this person is still alive. Ooh. Suyin didn't care about his background, but he didn't know where to start. Now that he suddenly saw the flame of hope, how could he not be excited? One of the 3 emperors today, many people call her the Empress. Chu Zigua said slowly. Zuoling Yue? Suyin and Wan Guangxiao said in surprise at the same time. Chu Zigua just nodded slowly, then waved his hand and said to the 2 of them, since you don't plan to let my Yu's son come to me for revenge, then leave. I have nothing to say to you. If I can't end it once and for all, I need to continue to think about it. Guangxiao, quickly take this kid away. Otherwise, if he opens his mouth, I really don't have the patience to help him. Chapter 1030. Zuoling Yue is not someone you can afford to offend. Su Yin, I'm warning you, don't think too much about it. Wan Guangxiao said. That woman is not on the same side as us. Although I can't deny Elder Chu's words, there are some things you should just listen to. Don't think too deeply about it, or you will be at a loss. Suyin didn't say anything. He had his own ideas and thoughts. If he hadn't left the Dragon Brigade back then, he would definitely have obeyed the chief's orders without any resistance. But now he was no longer the Suyin back then. He had learned to think about his own affairs. He had the concept of his own affairs. Although it seemed like a simple concept, it was something that a member of the Special Forces couldn't have. Before leaving the Dragon Brigade, Suyin only had one kind of thing in his world, and that was the country's affairs and the people's affairs. His own affairs would never exist. Everything he did was for the country and the people. But after he left the Dragon Brigade and met Ruan Qingshuang, he began to realize what his own affairs meant. Time would change a person a lot, and life experiences would shape a person. In the Dragon Brigade, Suyin was the one who was shaped. But after leaving the Dragon Brigade, Suyin became the one who shaped himself. This kind of self-shaping allowed Suyin to truly experience the meaning of life. It didn't mean that his life in the Dragon Brigade was meaningless. That kind of meaning was greater for the country and the people. But now, Suyun's life was more meaningful to himself. If he had to choose, he would choose to be his current self. Because this way, his life would be more meaningful. But at the same time, Wan Guangxiao had allowed him to return to the team. Naturally, he wouldn't let down the people's trust in him. Of course, if he had to take care of both sides, the burden on Suyun's shoulders would be heavier. But Suyin still wouldn't turn back. This was something he could not escape from, and the Dragon Brigade was where his soul lay. He believed that Wan Guangxiao and Wang Yi would give him a suitable role, so that he could take care of both sides. Thank you for your concern, Chief. Suyin thought for a long time before replying to Wan Guangxiao. Obviously, Wan Guangxiao was not satisfied with this answer. Wan Guangxiao was also helpless. Who would have thought that Elder Chu would bring up the matter of Suyun's father? He couldn't blame Suyin for being curious. After all, he was his father. If he put himself in Suyun's shoes, he probably wouldn't listen to other people's opinions, and would only respect his own. Because of Suyun's status, he didn't need to stay in the Dragon Brigade to train or do anything. Normal missions wouldn't be assigned to him unless it was absolutely necessary. So after Suyin and Wan Guangxiao returned to the team and said goodbye, they drove back to Panjiayuan. In these 2 days, Kevin Matthew didn't idle around. He followed Ma Sanner to see how business was done in Panjiayuan. Lin Ge and Chang also had a leisurely life. After knowing that Su Yin had gone to the Dragon Brigade, Lin Ji's hanging heart completely relaxed. Today, Su Yun's return made everyone feel even more relieved. How is it? My information is correct, right? If you want to see Chu Zigua, you have to go through Wan Guangxiao. Ma Sanner said proudly. Although it's a little difficult, based on your old relationship, he definitely has to give you face, right? Su Yin nodded. He had given face, but of course there were conditions. If he hadn't left the Champions Trophy for the elite martial arts competition, Wan Guangxiao wouldn't have been in the mood to bring him to see Chu Zigua. He probably didn't even have the face to see Chu Zigua himself, so how could he bring him there? Everything was a coincidence. Fortunately, such a big event happened once in a decade, which gave Su Yin the chance to return to the team. After Su Yin told everyone that he had returned to the Dragon Brigade, everyone was shocked half to death. Now Su Yin was a member of the Dragon Brigade. Although he was no longer a part of the Dragon Fury team, he still had the status of a special instructor for the Dragon Fury team. It couldn't be helped. He would always have an inseparable relationship with the Dragon Fury team. And his status of being able to leave the Dragon Brigade at any time was what made Ma Sanner so awesome. In Ma Sanner's words, since the establishment of the Dragon Brigade, there were no more than 10 people who had a free identity, like Su Yun. You met Chu Zigua. Kevin Matthew was concerned about this question. I just saw him, Su Yun said, but with his current status he can't be met by just anyone. Matthew, it's not that I don't want to help you, but I'm not capable enough. Chu Zigua's current status is a criminal. But I've already helped you find the answers to some of the questions you wanted to know. Kevin Matthew was silent. Just as Su Yin was about to speak, he opened his mouth again. Su Yin, thank you for doing so much for me. But I'm afraid I already know the answers you've obtained. Oh. Su Yin frowned. He remembered clearly that Kevin Matthew wanted to meet Chu Zigua to prove the truth. I know the truth, Kevin Matthew said. If it weren't for Chu Zigua's betrayal, my father wouldn't have died. If it weren't for Chu Zigua's betrayal, I wouldn't have stayed in the United States. I've investigated a lot of things during this period of time. Su Yin, I really shouldn't have used your kindness to help me find Chu Zigua. Su Yin didn't blame Kevin Matthew. Matthew, let me ask you, do you want to find Chu Zigua and kill him? Kevin Matthew didn't answer, nor did he deny it. This was a kind of tacit admission. Su Yin sucked in a breath of cold air. It seemed that Chu Zigua's judgment was correct. As a descendant of Mayu, other than wanting to kill him, what other motive could he have for coming back to find him? Then I can't take you to see him, Su Yin said. Matthew, I'm sorry. Although some of the things he did didn't even have a reason to be forgiven, he did contribute to the country after all. Now he is also repentant. I think all of this should be over. Kevin Matthews smiled calmly. Su Yin, you can say that because you are not me. But I understand you, Su Yin said. Brother, I know you treat me as a brother. I will always treat you as a brother, Kevin Matthews said. But now it's time for us to say goodbye. The matter is already over. You still have many things to do. And I also have many places that I want to visit, such as Patala Palace, Heavenly Eye Lake, Changbai Mountain, the 5 Great Mountains, Yalong Bay, and Lijiang City. I want to visit all of them. All good things must come to an end. Let's say goodbye here. See you again. Say goodbye now? Su Yin was startled. He didn't expect Kevin Matthew to bring this up. But this was his freedom. And this matter was indeed over. He wouldn't bring Kevin Matthew to hurt Chu Zigua. The truth of the matter was also clear. Since that's the case, I wish you a safe journey. Su Yin said lightly. The door of Xinkai Hotel will always be open to you. You are welcome to come at any time. And, of course, when I have traveled all over the great mountains and rivers of Huaxia, I will definitely return to Xinkai Hotel to share my travels with you. Kevin Matthew said, my language is quite good, and my photography is also first class. Lin Go also wished Kevin Matthew good luck. Then you must be careful of the police. You have to memorize the number of that fake ID. Chapter 1031. After Kevin Matthew left Panjiayuan, he didn't travel around Huaxia like he said. He didn't leave Yanjing, but quickly checked into a hotel not far from Panjiayuan. After checking into the room, Kevin Matthew quickly downloaded something like a satellite map. After tapping on the keyboard for a while, a map of Yanjing appeared on the screen. At the location of Panjiayuan, there was a red dot flashing nonstop. Brother Yin, I'm sorry. If I didn't do this, I would never be able to find Chuzigua. Kevin Matthew looked at the screen and said with some melancholy. This red dot was a positioning response device that Kevin Matthew secretly placed on Su Yun's body. He could use this thing to record Su Yun's whereabouts every day. With just a few taps on the keyboard, the red dot would automatically draw out Su Yun's route, indicating where he had been. With this, Kevin Matthew could easily determine where Su Yun had been today, and that place was Chuzigua's resting place. Of course, Su Yun didn't know all of this. This positioning response device was very ingenious. It was like a transparent plastic the size of a fingernail. It was almost weightless and had a strong adhesion. Unless it was deliberately removed, it wouldn't fall off at all due to unconscious friction. Kevin Matthew was afraid that Su Yun would change his clothes, so he cleverly used the opportunity of getting close to Su Yun to stick it behind Su Yun's earlobe. Kevin Matthew used the positioning response chip to quickly determine the place Su Yun had been to this morning. Chuzigua, I've finally found you. As time passed, the sun gradually set in the west. The dusk covered Panjiayuan with a thick layer of mystery. This time, although Ma San'er didn't do anything, he did help Su Yun find the information. Su Yun said that he must invite him. Of course, they didn't go to Wangfu Hotel to eat the Manchuhan Imperial Feast. Instead, they ate skewers at a barbecue restaurant not far from Panjiayuan. Are you really not going to kill me? Or is there something that makes you afraid to go too far? Su Yun drank a mouthful of draft beer and looked at Ma San'er with a smile. Ma San'er slapped his thigh. Brother Yin, I know that I can't hide anything from your eyes. Anyway, we're not outsiders. There's no harm in me telling you. There's really something going on tonight, something big. Looking at Ma San'er's deliberately mystifying appearance, Su Yun didn't have any special reaction. Chang was curious. He pricked up his ears and looked at Ma San'er seriously. Although they had only stayed at Ma San'er's place for 2 days, Ma San'er's mouth could be hoodwinked. Chang had long regarded him as his idol. After all, Ma San'er was really capable and knew everything. In Su Yun's words, Ma San'er, this brat, bragged to the heavens above, bragged to the earth below, and bragged to the middle. His mouth could make a dead person come back to life. After all, in his line of work, if he didn't know how to talk, no matter how good the things in his hands were, he wouldn't be able to pay a high price. As long as his mouth was honed, even if it was a high-quality imitation blue and white porcelain vase in his hands, he could sell it for 30 to 50,000 yuan. Tonight, a big item has arrived at Panjiayuan. Ma San'er said mysteriously, ever since I came to Panjiayuan, I haven't seen such a priceless treasure. It's from the Western Han Dynasty. It can be easily sold for more than 1 billion yuan. More than 1 billion yuan? Su Yun was stunned. Ma San'er, can you have some limits on your mouth? If you can do a business worth more than 1 billion yuan, why are you still wasting your time in Panjiayuan? Continue bragging, continue bragging. How many people in Panjiayuan can do a business worth more than 1 billion yuan? Is the People's Bank your home? You can print money just because you want to? Ma San'er hurriedly waved his hand and explained, Brother Yin, there's indeed no one in Panjiayuan who can pay for this job. But this time the owner took it out to show everyone. Whoever can contact the buyer will get the commission. This thing is not easy to sell in the country. It's a hot potato. If it's found out, it's a felony. Sell it abroad? Su Yun was stunned. If the national treasure is lost, it's a capital offense. Ma San'er, you know very well that I already have a real identity. If you dare to do this, I dare to deal with you. Why are you so unromantic? Ma San'er was speechless. We still don't know if that thing is real or fake. It might be fake. Before we see it, nothing will happen. Even if it's real, I, Ma San'er, don't have the ability to take this job. You don't have to think about catching me. I'm just going to open my eyes. What is it? Linga couldn't help but be curious. Ma Saner smiled and became proud again. Guess. If you guess correctly, I'll treat you to dinner tonight. Lin Gu and Chang shook their heads vigorously. How could they guess this thing? It's from the Western Han Dynasty, and it's worth more than $1 billion. Could it be? Su Yun hesitated for a moment and said with certainty, golden jade clothing? Ma Saner, you don't have to pay taxes for bragging, right? Even if it's bragging, I'm not bragging. Ma Saner said, whether it's real or not, we'll know tonight. We'll go back after dinner. This is a once-in-a-century event. I don't want to miss it. Get lost. I don't believe you. Su Yun waved his hand. But no matter what, I guessed correctly. Tonight's dinner is on you. Everyone heard what you said, right? Lin Gu and Chang nodded their heads like chicks pecking at rice. F***ck. Ma Saner's heart ached. Fortunately, he was eating barbecue skewers today. If he really went to eat the Manchu Han Imperial Feast, he would definitely beat himself to death for saying such words. But no matter what, Ma Saner was willing to accept his loss. So be it. Ma Saner, what exactly is the golden jade clothing? Lin Gu asked curiously. He didn't know much about these things, but something that could be casually sold for more than $1 billion was still very curious. Ma Saner was an expert in this field. He touched his chin. Let me tell you this. The golden jade clothing was the highest standard funeral clothing in the Han Dynasty. It roughly appeared during the Western Han Dynasty. According to the records of Shijing magazine, the emperors of the Han Dynasty were buried with pearls and jade boxes shaped like armor and connected with golden threads. This jade box is what we call the golden jade clothing. At that time, the people were very superstitious. They said that this jade could preserve the body's immortality. Jade was also a noble ceremonial object and a symbol of status. Therefore, only the emperors could wear this treasure after they died. Damn. Doesn't that mean that this thing was stolen from a tomb? Chang said. This tomb is full of big dumplings and blood corpses. There must be many traps in the tomb of the emperors. There must be many monsters guarding it. Damn. Who is so awesome to be able to steal this golden jade clothing? Could it be that Zhang Qiling from the Zhang family did it? Damn you. Have you read too many Grave Robbers Chronicles? Su Yun was speechless. Do you think Ma Saner is Wu Xie from the Ninth Gate? Hehe, if you really think so, I won't object. After all, my image is not bad. Ma Saner felt quite pleased with himself. At this time, a fleet of cars came into view. 2 Range Rovers led the way, followed by a Bentley Mulsanne. Behind them was a GMC Savannah, and behind them were 2 Range Rovers. Chapter 1032. Ma Saner was so anxious that he didn't even pay the bill. Who knew if it was intentional? But in the end, it was Su Yun who threw down 600 yuan to settle the bill. He got up and followed Ma Saner with Lin Gu and Chang. Regardless of whether it was real or not, Su Yun didn't want to miss this opportunity. If that golden jade garment was real, he really should check it out. After all, he was now a member of the Dragon Brigade again. When the few cars arrived at Panjiayuan, 4 burly men jumped out of the 4 Land Rovers in front and behind. They were all full of energy and bulging with muscles. Panjiayuan also began to fall into silence. The 16 men quickly cleared the area outside Panjiayuan, and then arranged for 2 people to guard the door, while the remaining 14 people entered Panjiayuan to investigate. Su Yun could tell that each and every one of these 16 people were first-rate experts. Their strength was definitely not ordinary. If it was a year ago, this team's strength would be enough to compete with the Dragon Fury team. Who was this person who actually had such great ability? Yanjing was indeed Yanjing. There were so many hidden dragons and crouching tigers. This lineup was really aggressive. Ma Saner brought Su Yun and the others back to the shop quickly and found an approval certificate. Ma Saner said that this was done 2 months ago. Not everyone had the opportunity to see this golden jade garment. It needed to be approved by the owner of Panjiayuan. Only those who had the ability would be allowed to see this golden jade garment tonight. Not bad, Ma Saner. I really can't underestimate you in the future. To be able to choose you for such a big matter. It seems like you really have done a lot of illegal things. Su Yun glared fiercely at Ma Sanner, causing Ma Sanner to have goosebumps all over his body. Brother Yun, we just know more people. We don't have any other abilities. Ma Sanner said. The only reason I can stay is because of my reputation. I've never done any business of selling national treasures out of the country. At most, I've dealt with some small things and cleaned them up. In the end, they still end up in the hands of the Huaxia people. Although they're antiques, they can't be put into museums. That's not a crime, right? Su Yun didn't know what kind of business Ma Sanner did, but Ma Sanner wasn't the kind of person who violated the law. He didn't want to pursue the matter with him. It's good that you know. You know what you should do and what you shouldn't do. Soon, a few burly men patrolling arrived at Ma Sanner's shop. Without waiting for them to speak, Ma Sanner handed them his ID and took the initiative to introduce himself. I'm the shop owner. These are my 2 assistants and an expert friend of mine. Go to the place designated by the head of the garden to gather. The burly men saw the ID and didn't make things difficult for Ma Sanner. They immediately asked him to gather. This was a gathering to see the golden jade dress. Ma Sanner was quite excited. This was a big business. Even if he couldn't do it, it would be worthwhile to take a few looks and broaden his horizons. About half an hour later, all the people who were qualified to stay were gathered in the same place. Su Yun thought that there would be a lot of people, but there were only 10 bosses at most. Each of them brought 2 or 3 employees with them. At this time, a young woman walked out of the Bentley. Although it was night, the woman still wore sunglasses. Her black clothes made her look particularly cold and elegant. I won't say much. The people standing in front of me tonight are all experts with real connections in Pan Garden. The woman slowly opened her mouth. I came to Pan Garden to look for connections for one reason, to save trouble. So whoever can provide me with the safest and most convenient sales channel will get a 10% commission. Of course, the price is also a factor in my consideration. Alright, you guys look at the item first. Before you see it, no matter how much I say, you won't be in the mood to listen. After the woman finished speaking, she clapped her hands. The door of the GMC Savannah was opened. 4 people walked out of the car carrying the golden jade dress, which was sealed with bulletproof glass. This woman's courage was really big. She actually brought such a precious thing outside. Although the moment the golden jade dress came out of the car, the 14 first-rate experts immediately surrounded it, it was still dangerous. Su Yun looked around and saw that no one dared to move. If anyone dared to have any improper thoughts, they would be skinned alive by the 14 super experts. There was once a media report that 1,000 golden mummies wearing golden jade dresses were found in Egypt. However, those golden mummies only had a layer of gold on their bodies. They didn't have any components of jade, so they couldn't be called true golden jade dresses. The jade carving technique is unique to our country. The Han Dynasty was also a period when jade carving was popular. From the fragments of the golden jade dress unearthed in Changsha, it wasn't just simply ground into jade pieces. There were also patterns carved on it. The woman opened her mouth again. There are no records of who designed the golden jade dress. In 1968, 2 complete sets of ancient imperial and aristocratic burial clothes were unearthed from the tomb of Lu Sheng and Do I of the Western Han Dynasty. They have a history of more than 2,000 years. According to the investigation, those 2 sets of golden jade dresses were the earliest and most complete ones unearthed in our country. However, the set I brought today is even more complete than the other 2 sets. While speaking, there were already some bold people who walked forward to take a look. Ma Sanner was one of them. Su Yun also followed closely behind. Although separated by glass, they could still clearly see what was inside. The glass had a special lighting design, so the jade dress inside could be seen very clearly. The jade clothes inside the explosion-proof glass were made of many jade pieces with small holes in the 4 corners. They were woven together with gold, silver, or copper wires, and were shaped like a human body. Countless jade pieces were woven together with gold wires. The size and shape of each jade piece had been carefully designed and carefully processed. The craftsmanship was quite good. The jade dress was made of 6 parts: the hood, the upper body, the sleeves, the gloves, the trousers, and the shoes. They were all pieced together from jade pieces and woven with gold wire. The jade dress had a jade eye cover and a nose plug on the head. The lower abdomen had a box and an anal plug. The periphery was sealed with red fabric. The trousers were wrapped with iron bars to reinforce the shape. The face cover was carved with the shape of the eyes, nose and mouth. The chest and back were broad, and the buttocks and abdomen were protruding. It was completely like a human body. The woman began to introduce in detail. It used 1,642 grams of gold wire to connect 4,652 jade pieces of different sizes. It took more than 2 years for more than 100 craftsmen to complete. The entire jade dress was exquisitely designed and meticulously made. It was completely made of Xinjiang white jade and green jade. It was warm and sparkling. It was a rare artistic treasure. Su Yin frowned. Could it be that there are more than the Chu royal mausoleum's gold-threaded jade clothes and jade pieces? You are right. The woman looked up at Su Yin. The Chu royal mausoleum has a total of 4,248 jade pieces. It is the oldest jade garment that has been announced. It has the highest number of jade pieces, the best quality, and the most exquisite craftsmanship. And mine is even better than the Chu royal mausoleum's golden thread jade robes. It is hard to tell if it is real through the glass. Su Yun's words immediately offended people. In an instant, 4 first-class experts surrounded him. Seeing this, Lin Gu immediately leaned behind Su Yun and prepared for battle. Chapter 1033. The battle that was about to break out was suppressed by Ma San'er's smiling face. He didn't want to cause trouble. If the other party had such a thing, she was definitely not someone to be trifled with. Even if it was Su Yin, he would have to think twice, right? He couldn't fall out with her just like that. If things went wrong, he wouldn't even know how he died. Indeed, such a valuable thing shouldn't be seen through the glass. But I don't feel at ease with this place. The woman said, if you're really interested, we'll arrange it again. I'll let you see it clearly, but that's a matter for the future. It's not something that can be casually seen by all of you here. Do you understand? The last question was obviously thrown at Su Yun. Su Yun laughed dryly. He didn't know much about the goods, and he couldn't afford it. He just casually said it, but he didn't expect that the other party would have such a big reaction. Could it be that this thing was really fake? Then this joke was a bit too big. Also, I need to clarify one more thing. The value of this gold and jade garment is more than 3 billion. After the woman finished speaking, she turned around and returned to her Bentley. Under the protection of the 14 first-class experts, the golden jade dress was repeatedly admired and judged by the more than 10 real big business owners in the Pan Garden. Now, even if some people had some small doubts, they didn't ask anymore. No one wanted to annoy and offend this female boss. If they felt that something was wrong, they could just stay out of this matter. But everyone was full of interest. No matter what, this thing had a 10% commission. If it was sold at a sky-high price of 3 billion, then the commission would be 300 million. How many deals would it take to earn 300 million? After all, people were people after all. That kind of greed couldn't be controlled. Just like an old saying, if you had too much money, would it be scalding? Of course it wasn't. Not only was it not scalding, but it also warmed the heart. Ma San'er, let's see how confident you are. Su Yun smiled and asked in a low voice. Ma San'er shook his head. Brother Yin, let's be honest. Let's not talk about this. It's impossible to determine the authenticity of any item from the ancient tomb through the glass. Let me put it this way, it's really too easy to fake it now. Take an incident that happened a few years ago. The deputy director of the museum and 5 other top appraisal experts offered a sky-high price of 2.4 billion yuan for a self-made gold and jade garment made by a swindler. Because of this, the 2 presidents of CCB easily believed in the financial capabilities of the swindler. After discovering that they had been swindled out of a loan of more than 600 million, not only did they not report the case, they even continued to illegally provide funds of more than 400 million, causing the bank to ultimately lose more than 500 million. Later, the experts admitted that they didn't even open the glass cover of the gold and jade suit during the evaluation. They just walked around it. So looking at the gold and jade suit through the glass, it's nonsense to say that it's real or fake. After a pause, Massaner said again, there are really a lot of such experts now. Privately receiving some benefits, humph, they can even say that the fake is real. Damn it, the market has been messed up by this group of F***king things. Just because of a few scums, the whole pot of porridge has been ruined. The experts have become experts, and the professors have become beggars. Sigh, there's an old professor I know. He's such a good person, but because of a few scum professors who groped female students, he was exposed by the media. It made him feel ashamed to tell outsiders that he's a professor. The experts you mentioned don't even have basic professional ethics. It's really disgusting, Suyin said. But even without the glass cover, how confident are you that this thing is real or fake? Massaner rolled his eyes. Brother Yin, let's talk about this in private. There are too many people here. It's not appropriate to say too much. This kid is still playing mysterious. Suyin didn't say anything else. After about 10 minutes, finally, a dozen or so bosses with real connections and backgrounds had seen it. Everyone had their own ideas. Very good. The woman walked out of her Bentley again and snapped her fingers. For people immediately carried the gold and jade suit back to the GMC. The woman continued. No matter what you see, I'm very sure that before you come into contact with the gold and jade suit, none of you will dare to say that it's real. But you have to understand us. If you don't have prospective customers, I won't let you come into contact with the gold and jade suit. So, in a week, if you're confident that you can contact a prospective buyer, let the owner know. If the owner trusts you, he'll naturally tell you where to meet me. At that time, I'll let you truly see the gold and jade suit without any barriers. If you think it's fake, I'll respectfully see you out. If you think it's real, we'll sit down and talk about the buyer and the price. This woman's mind was really meticulous. Suyin sighed with emotion. Without waiting for other people to ask any more questions, the woman had already returned to the car. Once the car door was closed, those first-class experts also got in one after another. The motorcade left Panjiayuan in the same formation as when they came. Just like that, the gold and jade suit's appearance that seemed casual but was full of hidden murderous intent ended quietly. Just like the beginning, it was also silent. Apart from those who were present and those who left, no one knew what had happened in the open space in the center of Panjiayuan. After returning to Massaner's shop again, Suyin still didn't forget the question just now. Without the glass cover, how sure are you that the gold and jade suit is real? Of course 100%. As Massaner spoke, he closed the door. You know what Massaner say? My words are like nails. If I say 100%, it's definitely not 99%. Lin Gu shook his head in disbelief. Come on, who hasn't made a mistake before? Don't be so confident. You don't believe me, right? Hee, I know you don't believe me. But let me tell you, there are definitely times when you make a mistake with your eyes. But if you use your nose to smell, there will never be a mistake. Massaner smiled proudly. If you want to distinguish the gold and jade suit, you have to smell it. This thing is worn by the dead, the ancient corpses of the Western Han Dynasty. The smell is very special. Even if it has been ventilated and the corpse smell has been removed, there will definitely be a residue. I can tell if it's real or fake with just a sniff. This is my ability. If he didn't have some ability to do business in Panjiayuan, he wouldn't have been able to do business until now. On this point, Suyin believed in Massaner. He definitely had the ability to make a living. Third brother, you are awesome. You can even tell the age of the corpse smell? Chang sighed. Then, if I give you a bottle of red wine, you will definitely be able to tell if it's 1982 or 1988, right? Red wine is for the rich and handsome. We can't afford to drink it. Massaner said. If you give me a whole bottle of Earbook, I will be able to tell the age of it. I can also tell if it's Red Star or Nilon Mountain. This is not a problem. Suyin didn't have the time to listen to their nonsense. Massaner, in a week's time, I want you to smell it and see if it's real or fake. Brother, my dear brother, didn't you hear what she said? The next time you go, she might not choose you. Massaner said. Besides, I don't have any prospective customers. If the gold and jade suit is real, that woman will dare to ask for 4 billion. Or even 5 billion. Where can I find such a rich person who likes to buy clothes of the dead? No, no. Chapter 1034. After the Pan Garden incident was over, the hour hand slowly pointed to 11 o'clock at night. Some people had already gone to sleep, while some people's nightlife had just begun to reach its climax. In an international metropolis like Yanjing, even if it was completely covered by the night, it still wouldn't give people the feeling of being quiet. Kevin Matthew finally pushed open the door of the hotel. After dinner, he took a taxi to the toy store, and then went to the medical store. After that, he buried his head in the hotel and didn't go out for a whole 3 hours. He bought a replica toy gun at the toy store, ether, trichloromethane, and a few other anesthetics from the medical store, and then added a box of needles from the supermarket. After 3 hours of Kevin Matthews' work, the replica toy gun became a tranquilizer needle gun with an effective shooting range of more than 30 meters. Moreover, it was as far away as the pistol with an automatic aiming device, and it could almost guarantee that it would not miss a single shot. When everything was ready, Kevin Matthew took his 2 guns and directly went out to take a taxi to the destination he had decided on. When he was not far away from the bright and beautiful small Western-style building, an indescribable anger surged in his heart. The person who betrayed his father and caused his father to die an unnatural death was actually only punished by house arrest and living in such a spacious house. This was completely unacceptable to Kevin Matthew. The person who he couldn't forgive in his heart could actually enjoy his old age like this. Bah! Since no one punished him, then he would do it himself. Only when the sinner received the punishment that he deserved would his father be able to rest in peace. This kind of anger couldn't be blamed on Kevin Matthew. Anyone would be like this. His father was a hero who sacrificed himself for the country, but until now no one even knew where his body was. This kind of thing, no one would be able to accept it, right? Kevin Matthew put on his thermal sensor glasses. Even with the houses and trees blocking his view, he could still determine how many people were in the building, and where they were through the white image presented by the thermal sensor. The 4 moving figures were obviously the watchers, and the one sitting motionless on the ground should be Chu Zigua. Su Yin had told Kevin Matthew that Chu Zigua would sincerely repent for his actions every day, so Kevin Matthew was even more certain that the figure was Chu Zigua. But what was the point of repenting? What should have happened had already happened. No amount of repentance could make up for it. After confirming the patrol route of the 4 guards, Kevin Matthew quietly shot 2 of them with the tranquilizer needle gun. Then he caught the 3rd guard off guard. As for the 4th guard, Kevin Matthew openly shot him in the face. The tranquilizer needle that Kevin Matthew had personally made had a very strong effect. The moment the person was shot, the tranquilizer liquid would quickly enter the person's blood and paralyze the person's nervous system. It only took less than a second for the person who was shot to sleep until dawn. The 4 watchers were arranged by Wan Guangxiao. Because Chu Zigua had already destroyed his cultivation, there was no need to worry about him doing anything. There was no need for powerful experts at all. So the 4 watchers were only between second-rate and third-rate experts. Kevin Matthew used his own high-tech weapon to quickly end the battle. The 4 watchers all fell asleep. Finally, Kevin Matthew pushed open the door of the building. I knew you would come, but I didn't expect you to come so soon. Chu Zigua did not get up. He was still sitting in front of the wall of reflection. Do you know who I am? Kevin Matthew had already taken out his pistol. As long as Chu Zigua had any reaction that threatened him, he would not hesitate to pull the trigger. Chu Zigua nodded and said faintly, "Of course I know. Kid, shoot. Doing this is a relief for you, and it is also a relief for me. After you shoot, everyone will be relieved." It doesn't matter. Come on. Kevin Matthew was full of resentment. He did not know how to answer at this time. How did you know I would come? Because in the morning, that kid Su Yin came. Chu Zigua said. He told me about you. I knew that you must be here for revenge. I admit the mistakes I made. Really, I also know that they are unforgivable. Whatever you want to do, do it according to your wishes. Even if you want me to die, I am willing to accept it. It was not Su Yin who asked me to come. He did not tell me the location. Kevin Matthews said. He would not betray others like you. Chu Zigua's face was expressionless. I know that kid Su Yin would not do such a thing. But you still have a way to find his whereabouts and find me. Ehe, I am proud of your father. With a talent like you in the Ma family, your father will be relieved in the afterlife. You are not qualified to say such things to me. Kevin Matthew held the gun. His wrist trembled as he said. Chu Zigua, why did you betray him? Can you face your own conscience? Can you face your country? I am sorry. Chu Zigua did not refute. I am really sorry. So, I will die without regrets. Then go to hell. Kevin Matthews' head was filled with blood. His finger was about to pull the trigger. Clank. With a crisp collision sound. A coin bounced off the gun in Kevin Matthews' hand. Of course, it was Lin Ge who made the move. This was a unique skill taught by Lu Xuanji. You can't do this. Su Yin strode into the room and stopped Kevin Matthew. Senior Chu also has his difficulties. He deserves to die, but he has already atoned for his sins. We can't deny his contributions to the country just because of a single mistake. Kevin Matthew was stunned. It took him a long time to come back to his senses. He looked at Su Yin who restrained him and Lin Ge who stepped into the building. Why are you here? Matthew. You are not kind. Didn't you say that you went on a trip? Lin Ge wiped the sweat on his forehead. It was really a close call just now. It was scary but not dangerous. If he did not have a coin in his pocket, it would have been too late by the time Su Yin rushed over. Su Yin held the transparent fingernail-sized positioning device in his hand. When I was taking a shower, I accidentally touched this thing behind my ear. I am afraid that you are the only one who can get this kind of almost invisible high-tech thing through the channels in the United States. Huaxia does not have this kind of technology. Although I am not sure what this is, I am sure that you can find out where I have been through it. Matthew, I understand you, but I will not let you continue like this. You don't understand. Kevin Matthew said. Some things cannot be left unresolved. Yes. Only when I die can it be considered resolved. Chu Zigua also spoke. Su Yin kid, thank you for what you did just now. However, I don't want you to interfere in our matters. If the person I betrayed was your father, you would not persuade yourself like this. It is natural for him to want to kill me. Su Yun's head exploded. Isn't this adding fuel to the fire? I don't care about your matters, but I won't allow it, Su Yun said. Matthew, if you still treat me as a brother, listen to me this time. I beg you. Chapter 1035. Maybe my choice is wrong, but I can't control or stop my actions, Kevin Matthews said. It's not that I'm irrational, but this kind of impulse is really hard to resist. I understand your impulse. Su Yin didn't have any intention of relaxing. He still insisted on controlling Kevin Matthew. If I were you, I would do the same. But I also want someone to stop my actions because I know that this kind of behavior is wrong. Matthew, you're the same as me. You know that this is wrong, and you don't want to do this. I believe it. Kevin Matthews' smile stiffened. Yes, he did know that his actions were wrong. But he really didn't want to be stopped. He calmed down only because the person who stopped him was Su Yun. If it had been someone else, Kevin Matthew wouldn't have been able to calm down. Brother Matthew, listen to my brother's advice. Let go before things get to the point of no return, Lin Ge said. There's no hurdle in the world that can't be overcome, right? Su Yin and Lin Ge persuaded Kevin Matthew to calm down. But Chu Zigua seemed to want to die. What's the point of thinking so much? I'm still alive in this world. Your father's sacrifice is meaningless. Boy, if you don't kill me, how can your late father rest in peace? Believe me, your father also wanted me to die. If it weren't for my betrayal, he would be the pride of the country, the hero of the people. And it was because of me that his death was worthless, not worth a single cent. No one even knows who he is or what he did. It's all because of me. Chu Zigua's words once again aroused Kevin Matthews' anger. This kind of anger was uncontrollable by any son. Chu Zigua. Su Yun suddenly shouted angrily. Su Yun, who had always been addressing Chu Zigua as an old senior, shouted back unceremoniously, "You've already harmed Mayu. If you still have a conscience, you shouldn't harm Matthew anymore. Do you know the consequences of Matthew killing you? You said that you've been facing the wall and repenting, but in my opinion, these repents are meaningless. Because you haven't let go. You want to die just to be free, not to atone for your sins. Your death is meaningless. It will only involve Matthew in trouble. Old Senior Chu, if you really want to repent, then try to bring Matthew back to the right path, instead of forcing him to make mistakes." Su Yun's words silenced Chu Zigua, as well as Kevin and Matthew. At this moment, there was a commotion. Su Yun had just reacted when he saw a few familiar faces rushing in. Lin Ge was vigilant and ready for battle, but he heard the few people who rushed and call out to Su Yun respectfully. They were full of doubts. "Boss, why are you guys here?" Su Yun was also a little confused. This was indeed a bit too sudden. Why would the brothers of the Dragon Fury team come here? Those 4 guards must have sensors on them. When they are in a forbidden state for more than a few minutes, they will automatically transmit a wireless alarm. Kevin Matthews' words broke the mystery. He was very clear about the principle of this kind of thing. Han Zhan looked at everyone blankly. "We rushed over immediately after receiving the mission. It's an emergency mission issued by the main team. Boss, what's going on?" "Maybe the main team guessed that I would be here. Su Yun, who cares? At least it's you guys who came, so I can talk to you. There's nothing for you to do here. You can all go back. I can take care of it." Qianfeng scratched the back of his head. "Boss, are we just going to leave like this? This 4 of our brothers were attacked here. How are we going to deal with this? I'm afraid we really can't leave. At least we have to leave a replacement." Hua Xiaolu also agreed with Qianfeng's words. Although they didn't know that this place was used to put Chu Zigua under house arrest, they were still wondering why the building was so empty. Guangxiao doesn't need to go through so much trouble on this matter. Chu Zigua spoke again. "I know what he's thinking. A talent like Matthew would be treasured by any country. He's a living nuclear weapon. If you guys didn't stop him today and let Matthew kill me, after his resentment dissipates, he will naturally regret what he did. With his regret, he can be used by the Dragon Brigade. One leader wouldn't have such a scheming plan." Su Yun refused. "Senior Chu, don't force your wishful thinking on others. You are one leader's master. He definitely won't use you." Hearing Su Yun say that this ordinary-looking old man was Wan Guangxiao's master, everyone in the Dragon Fury team was shocked. In the 2 days that Su Yun had been here, Chu Zigua's matter was unknown to everyone. Now, everyone was talking about it. It was an open secret in the Dragon Brigade. And the person in front of them now was Chu Zigua. "My disciple, I understand," Chu Zigua said. "Guangxiao is different from me. He has the ability to lead the entire Dragon Brigade. He thinks that he can abandon everything for the interests of the country. As long as Matthew can be used by the country and fight for the interests of the people, what's the harm in sacrificing me as his master? Besides, I'm a sinner. As long as the sacrifice is worth it and benefits the country, what's the harm in sacrificing?" Everyone had a lingering fear in their hearts after hearing Chu Zigua's words. Wan Guangxiao was indeed such a person. It wasn't a groundless rumor that he was called a zombie. For the interests of the country and the people, he could sacrifice anything he thought was worth sacrificing. Even the lives of his Dragon Brigade Special Forces members, he wouldn't blink an eye. This wasn't to say that Wan Guangxiao was heartless, but only someone like him could sit in the position of Dragon Brigade's commander. This position wasn't easy to sit in. Not everyone was able to sit still. Not everyone could withstand the pressure of sitting in this position. Some things were just like this. There was no right or wrong, no loyalty or righteousness. When faced with these choices, Wan Guangxiao had no choice. He could only choose the country and the interests of the people. This choice seemed cold and heartless, but it was actually filled with true love. There weren't many people who could understand this principle. This was why people who could sacrifice themselves for the country, and the people were always 1 in a million. Some people would say that they had to sacrifice themselves for the sake of the big picture. If they sacrificed themselves, What was the point of the big picture? But there were always people who had to make sacrifices. If no one was willing to sacrifice, no one was willing to give, no one was willing to protect the interests of the country and the people, then there wouldn't be today's stability. Many people only saw what they gained and only saw their own small interests suffer losses. But they didn't see those who really gave up for the sake of righteousness. So there was a kind of person who grew up eating the country's rice and white flour, but they were ingrates who would never be cooked. They would eat whose rice, smash whose pot, live in whose house, and mess with whose nest. Excerpt from the book review section. However, there were people who were completely different from them. These people who protected the country's sharp blades only cared about giving and never cared about anything. Chapter 1036. Wang Guangxiao's appearance undoubtedly caused the scene to fall into a stalemate. Several members of the Dragon Fury team took a step back and greeted him. Chu Zigua let out a long sigh. It was as if Wang Guangxiao's appearance meant that it was impossible for him to die tonight. Sir, I want to ask you a question. Did you already realize that something would happen today? Su Yin went straight to the point. How did you and them get here so quickly? I can only suspect that you were prepared. Wang Guangxiao didn't deny it. Yes, I was prepared. After you left the Dragon Brigade, I instructed the Dragon Fury team to be ready at any time. You don't trust me? Su Yin was stunned. As for you, I still trust you. Otherwise, I wouldn't have let you return to the team. But I arranged for someone to use electronic surveillance equipment to secretly detect some special electronic equipment on you. So I suspect your friend, Kevin Matthew. Wang Guangxiao said. Su Yin, when you trust someone, you never doubt them. This is your strength, but it's also your fatal weakness. You can trust Kevin Matthew unconditionally, but I can't trust him. I need to be prepared for everything that happens. Su Yun's heart was in a mess. He didn't deny Wang Guangxiao's words. He was indeed too trusting. But his trust in Kevin Matthew was based on a certain foundation. Kevin Matthew had done many things for him, so it was only right for him to do something for Kevin Matthew. It was necessary and duty-bound. Since you realized that Matthew might have used me to come here and pose a threat to Elder Chu, why didn't you make arrangements earlier? Su Yin. If Lin Gu and I hadn't arrived earlier, Elder Chu would probably be. Su Yin suddenly paused. Could it be that Wang Guangxiao really thought of sacrificing Chu Zigua to keep Kevin Matthew? Sacrificing oneself for the greater good. Guangxiao didn't do anything wrong. Chu Zigua was very open-minded. I'm a person who's about to die with a heavy crime. If I can use my life to keep a military genius that all the countries in the world are fighting over, it's not a wasted trip. Even if I go to hell, I still have the face to see my ancestors. Seeing that Wang Guangxiao didn't say anything, Su Yin lost control of his emotions. I know the importance of righteousness, but I can't betray my ancestors. Su Yin, do you really think I'm that kind of person? Wang Guangxiao said. If you really think so, I have nothing to say. Then what kind of person can you be? Look at what you've done. What can I think? Su Yin couldn't accept this reality. Wang Guangxiao's actions were indeed for the sake of the country, but in terms of personal feelings, Su Yin still couldn't accept his actions of using Chu Zigua as bait to catch Kevin Matthew. Su Yin suddenly kicked the table next to him. We don't have the same principles. I don't care about the identity of a special forces member. When I did something wrong back then, it was you who removed my name. Today, I don't need you to deal with it. I'll go by myself. I won't work for someone who would even betray his own master. After saying this, Su Yin walked out in big strides. Qianfeng, Hua Xiaolu, and the others hurriedly went forward to stop Su Yin and tried to calm him down. Su Yin didn't vent his anger on his brothers. Instead, he said to Wang Guangxiao's back, "No one can keep me here today. If you want to keep me here, I'm afraid you'll have to do it yourself. You can go. I won't do anything to you." Wang Guangxiao didn't even turn his head. If my people don't understand me, it can only mean that I'm a failure. Lin Gu naturally only left with Su Yin. Although he had been in the Dragon Brigade before, he didn't have any feelings for this place. The only person he had feelings for was Su Yun. Su Yun and Lin Ge left, but Kevin Matthew probably wouldn't be able to leave for a while. Even if he didn't kill Chu Zigua, he had already committed the crime of threatening the safety of others. Moreover, he had used a tranquilizer gun to shoot 4 people on duty. This was considered an assault on the army, which was a serious crime. Sir, are we just going to let him go like this? Han Zhan was a little unwilling. Su Yun had just returned. His brothers in the Dragon Fury team hadn't even had time to celebrate yet. Now that things had turned out like this, his brothers were definitely unwilling like him. Wang Guangxiao frowned. If you can stop him, then do it. How could the people in the Dragon Fury team dare to make a move against Su Yun? This wasn't because Su Yun was strong and they didn't dare to make a move. It was because of Su Yun's status and their respect for Su Yun. They absolutely couldn't make a move against Su Yun. Wang Guangxiao's words put the brothers in the Dragon Fury team in a dilemma. They all stood awkwardly in place. Qianfeng was so angry that he wanted to smash something to vent his anger. However, there was nothing in the room to smash. Moreover, Wang Guangxiao was standing right next to him. He didn't have the courage of his boss, Su Yun, to kick over the table in front of Wang Guangxiao. Aren't you going to explain yourself? Chu Zigua asked. There's nothing to explain. Wang Guangxiao still didn't have any emotional reaction. If he really wanted to betray his master, he wouldn't have spent so much effort to beg the organization to spare Chu Zigua's life. He was indeed using Chu Zigua to catch the big fish, Kevin Matthew. However, he never thought that he would put Chu Zigua in danger. Wang Guangxiao never thought that Kevin Matthew could use a toy gun modified with a tranquilizer needle gun to take care of the 4 guards he arranged in such a short time. He was mentally prepared for Kevin Matthew to take down the 4 guards, but he definitely didn't expect it to happen so quickly. Therefore, the people in the Dragon Fury team arrived at the scene a little late. He was definitely not a person who would betray his master. He didn't explain to Su Yun, because the more he explained, the more it would seem deliberate. Not only would he not be able to clear his name, but it would also make things worse and make people feel even more disgusted. Matthew, you're suspected of illegal immigration, possession of weapons, assault on military personnel, and many other crimes. Therefore, we need you to cooperate with us and come with us. Wang Guangxiao didn't continue the topic. Instead, he pointed the spearhead at Kevin Matthew. Kevin Matthew had been silent all this time. Ever since Su Yun interrupted his plan, he began to fall into deep thought. He wasn't afraid of facing the evidence, but he was afraid of facing his own heart. If I wasn't Kevin Matthew, if I wasn't the person you wanted to use, would I have been shot dead by now? Kevin Matthew said somewhat self-deprecatingly. It seems that as long as a person has value to be used, there will be people who will keep you alive even if you make a big mistake. If you have no value to be used, then death is not worth pitying. You think too much. Han Zhan stepped forward and restrained Kevin Matthew. Because you didn't kill anyone, you don't deserve to die. Come with us, you will get the punishment you deserve. Chapter 1037. Su Yun didn't say a word on the way out. Lin Ge finally couldn't help but say, Brother, no matter what, he's still the chief. You didn't give him any face in front of so many people. After all, with your status, you can't quit just because you want to. It's not a small company where you can resign just because you want to. Even civil servants have to go through procedures to resign, let alone you. Are you done? If you're done, then shut up. Su Yun. I don't have time to care about this right now. You better keep your thoughts to yourself. Think more about that golden jade garment. Brother, you already said that you're quitting. You're no longer a member of the Dragon Brigade. Why do you still care about this? Lin Ge laughed. I knew it. You just said it out of anger. If you really get into trouble, you won't be able to change your identity. Su Yun glared at Lin Ge. Can I care if I'm not a member of the Dragon Brigade? No matter what, this golden jade garment is national property. It's a national treasure. Since I know about it, I can't let it go overseas. Can't you understand such simple logic? No matter what my status is, I have to care about it because I'm a China citizen. That's right. Lin Ge nodded. But brother, Are we really not going to care about Matthew's matters? No matter what, he's still a friend, and it's not that I don't treat him as a friend. I want to care about his matters, but I can't do it now. Soo-yeon was more or less hurt by what Kevin Matthew did. I did everything I could for him, but he still chose to deal with it himself in the end. In today's situation, even if I put my life in front of the brigade, he wouldn't agree to let me take him away. If my brothers fight with me because of this, I really don't know what to do. Okay, I understand. Lin-ga nodded. Soo-yeon wouldn't fall out with his brothers in the Dragon Fury team just because of Kevin Matthew's brother. Anyone could understand. Soo-yeon also didn't want to hand Kevin Matthew over to Won Kwangxiao. Fortunately, he was sure that Won Kwangxiao wouldn't do anything to hurt Kevin Matthew. No matter what, if Kevin Matthew could really be used by the country, it wouldn't be a bad thing for anyone. Soo-yeon and Lin-ga returned to the Pan Garden and did not speak for the entire night. Because the matter of the jade dress still needed a week, Chang didn't have anything to help with. Xinjiang Hotel also needed manpower. After all, Ruan Qingshuang's work was no longer focused on the hotel. She had been helping Zhou Meiyan with some of the things at the Film and Television Square base on Qingdao. This way, Zhou Meiyan could focus on the headquarters in northern Ji. Chang drove away from Yanjing. Kevin Matthew was taken away by Won Kwangxiao. Soo-yeon and Lin-ga didn't look for a hotel. They continued to stay at Ma Saner's place. It wasn't like they couldn't stay there. Moreover, it was quite interesting to watch Ma Saner do business when they were bored. Ma Saner had clearly ordered them to leave, but Soo-yeon and Lin-ga were completely unmoved. Helpless, Ma Saner could only wait on these two men. Because Soo-yeon was still in Yanjing, even if he said that he wanted to quit, the Dragon Brigade couldn't get approval. Soo-yeon was still a member of the Dragon Brigade. But the brothers all knew Soo-yeon's temper. At this time, no one dared to persuade Soo-yeon. In the end, it was Qianfeng who had a lot of ideas. In the end, they still needed Dr. Yu Marin to persuade Soo-yeon. Others were useless. They didn't believe that boss Soo-yeon would fall out with Yu Marin. That was definitely impossible. So as long as Yu Marin stepped in, maybe it would be settled very quickly. Yu Marin was pulled over by them and explained the situation in detail. Her beautiful face couldn't help but show a touch of worry. She knew Soo-yeon well. This situation was unacceptable to Soo-yeon. But Yu Marin didn't believe that Wan Leader was that kind of person. So she decided to talk to Madame Wan Lan. Obviously, Yu Marin didn't come to the wrong place. After Wan Lan heard about the situation, she told Yu Marin with certainty, Wan is definitely not that kind of person. If Wan didn't do everything he could to find connections, make promises, and make military orders, Master Chu wouldn't be alive now. Master Chu's house arrest was begged by Wan with great difficulty. I don't believe that he would betray his master and betray his ancestors. There must be some misunderstanding in this matter. And this kind of misunderstanding must make him unable to explain. Xiaoyu, there are some things that the more you explain, the more unclear they become. Yu Marin nodded. I also believe that Wan Leader is definitely not that kind of person. I will find a way to deal with this matter. After the chief comes back, Aunt Wan will have to persuade him more. He must be uncomfortable now. It's hard for him to accept being misunderstood by the young man he thinks highly of if he isn't broad-minded. Don't worry about this. Wan is broad-minded. I'll just say a few words to him. Wan Lan smiled slightly. There was a very reasonable saying that behind a successful man, there was a great woman, and Wan Lan was definitely a great woman. After bidding farewell to Wan Lan, Yu Marin started to contact Soo-yeon. At first, Soo-yeon picked up the call but refused to tell Yu Marin where he was. Later, Yu Marin directly said that if he didn't tell her where they were, she would continue to wait outside. Before she saw Soo-yeon, she definitely wouldn't return to the Dragon Brigade. Even if she was given a demerit, she would accept it. Soo-yeon had no choice but to tell Yu Marin the address of Ma Saner's shop in Panjiayuan. Ma Saner bitterly said to Soo-yeon, "My dear brother, I finally sent those two people away and only left you two behind to serve me. Now, you've attracted more people. Sai, it's not easy to do business here. With so many people around, it's easy for the customers to have misgivings. We're not in a guest house, right? Why don't I find a place and you two go somewhere else? Ma Saner, can you not be such a sissy? Why are you so troublesome every day? Suyin was really speechless with Ma Saner. Lin Gu raised his eyebrows. There's going to be a beautiful woman coming over later. Don't be greedy. Upon hearing that it was a beautiful woman, Ma Saner perked up. Beautiful woman? How old is she? Do you have a girlfriend? Don't daydream about a toad lusting after a swan's meat. Lin Gu said, with my brother here, who do you think will fancy you? Ma Saner was not convinced when he heard it. Hey, how can you say that? Although I, Ma Saner, am not handsome, I'm definitely charming. I drive to the workers' gymnasium alone at night. If I meet a single girl, as long as I hit on her, I'll definitely succeed. Why don't you take a look at what car you're driving? Suyin rolled his eyes at Ma Saner. Although your Cayman is a beggar's version, it's still a Porsche sports car. If you have the ability, you can drive an F-egg to hit on the girls. See if any girl will dump you. Although Ma Saner was not convinced on the surface, he admitted in his heart that if he didn't drive a good car, no one would dare to hitch a ride with him when he met a long-legged girl at night. This was also one of the reasons why Ma Saner was not happy that Su Yin and the others were staying with him. Because if Su Yin and the others were not here, he could drive around the workers' gymnasium at night when he had nothing to do. If he saw a single long-legged girl, he could hit on her. Maybe with a few words, he could bring the girl back to spend the night here, and do something shy and strange. Chapter 1038. According to the address Suyin told her, Beauty, you quickly found Ma San, shop in Pan Garden. When Ma San, saw that she was really a beauty, he changed his previous attitude of being unwilling to receive and take care of her. He busied himself and poured tea for her. Ma Saner has been busy all the time. Yu Marin did not know how to talk to Su Yin in the presence of outsiders. After a few glances, Su Yin understood Yu Marin's meaning. Ma Saner is walking around here, and it is not convenient for him to talk about business. He can only leave it to Lin Gu. After receiving Su Yun's hint, Lin Gu immediately said to Yu Marin, Sister Yu, it is so hot today. Do you want to eat something cold to cool down? Of course. Yu Marin nodded and said cooperatively, It is really hot today. My mouth is dry. I will go and buy ice cream for you. Ma Saner immediately stood up and said, The shop is not far away. I will be back in 10 minutes. What flavor do you want to eat? Ili Mungyo, Nestle, Coca-Cola, or the biggest bowl? Just tell me. Don't stand on ceremony. Brother Yin and I are as close as one person. Don't stand on ceremony with me. I see. I want to eat Häagen-Dazs. Under Su Yun's hint, Yu Marin directly said, cappuccino truffles, cookies and macadamia nuts. A small cup of each. Ma Saner was stunned. What the hell? Sister, there is no Häagen-Dazs around Panjiayuan. If you want to buy it, it will be a long way back. Everyone knows Beijing's traffic is bad. It can jam people to death. If you buy Häagen-Dazs and can't make it back, you will turn into water halfway back. If you don't want to get stuck in traffic, you can only take the subway instead of driving. However, the subway can also squeeze people to death. Even if you take a steamed bun stuffed with leeks and squeeze all the way on the subway, you will smell of sweat when you come down, let alone a Häagen-Dazs. This is a difficult problem. Ma Saner is confused. He had just promised Yu Marin that he can buy whatever he wants, and now he is telling Yu Marin that it is not convenient to buy it. Yu Marin is not giving Yu Marin any face. Then sit here first. I will buy it and come back immediately. Ma Saner had no choice but to agree. Then bring me a large pint of chocolate flavor. Of course, Su Yin wouldn't be polite to him. If he could order him around, then so be it. Ma Saner's face. The taste will be the same when he brings it back? I will go with you. I am afraid you can't handle it alone. Lin Ji's task is to delay the matter as much as possible and give Su Yin and Yu Marin some time alone to deal with the things they need to deal with. After Ma Saner drove away with Lin Gu, Yu Marin finally said, Su Yin, I already know what happened last night. I am not here to explain anything for the chief, but think about it carefully. The chief is not that kind of person. If you are here to talk to me about this, then let's change the topic. Su-yin, I know you are doing this for my own good, but I am really fine. I will not punish myself for other people's mistakes. I will not be angry about it. I have thought it through. Everyone is different. I can't use my standards to restrict others. I am not trying to enlighten you. Marin said. I know you have a strong ability to adjust yourself. You don't need other people to persuade you. Let me ask you, who do you think spoke up for Senior Chu when he made such a big mistake and was not sentenced to capital punishment? Who was the one who vouched for him? Besides one leader, who else has the ability to save Senior Chu's life? Su-yin did not respond. Indeed, besides Wan Guangxiao, there was no other person who could save Chu Zigua from capital punishment. Obviously, one leader is a person who values friendship and righteousness. He would never do something like deceiving his master. Marin said. There must be a misunderstanding about what happened yesterday. This misunderstanding is very simple. I can understand it, but you can't. One leader also doesn't want to explain. What kind of misunderstanding can there be? If Pigeon and I didn't arrive in time, Senior Chu would have been. Su-yin definitely had a knot in his heart about this matter. Marin said. The misunderstanding happened here. You guys went early, and Dragon's Fury's people went late. In fact, Dragon's Fury's people were ready to set off at any time. But who would have thought that Kevin Matthew could get rid of the 4 guards in such a short time? One leader must have underestimated Kevin Matthew's ability. He actually wore thermal glasses and a self-made tranquilizer needle gun. These things were beyond one leader's imagination. So he didn't believe that Kevin Matthew could get rid of the 4 guards so quickly and meet Senior Chu so quickly. So he miscalculated the time it would take for the Dragon Fury team to arrive. These words sounded very reasonable, but Su-yin still shrugged his shoulders. This is just your side of the story. Then tell me what you think, Marin said. Do you really think that one leader is going to let Kevin Matthew kill Senior Chu? So what if that's the case? Will Kevin Matthew stay in Huaxia and serve the country after killing Senior Chu? Will no one be able to persuade Kevin Matthew if he doesn't kill him? Su-yin was silent. Think about it carefully. Things are really not that complicated, Marin said. You should trust your head captain. Because he won't harm you. Su-yin let out a long breath. But he is the person who expelled me after all. But the discipline you committed at that time was already considered killing. Marin suddenly became serious. You were expelled, but you still had freedom. Have you thought about it? If one leader didn't do something in the middle, you would probably be locked up in some prison now. If a normal prison can't hold you, you might even be sent to the Mardi Franz Island Serious Crime Prison. Before you killed that person, there was no evidence to prove that he was the mole who betrayed your Special Forces team. Do you know that? This was the last thing Su-yin wanted to talk about, but Marin was the one who brought it up. The person who died because of this was Marin's brother. What could Su-yin say? Who could he fall out with? Other than deep self-blame, there was only self-blame left. Marin let out a long breath. I don't want to talk about this either, but think about it carefully. Although one leader usually seems strict and unapproachable, everything he does, isn't it for the sake of everyone in the Dragon Brigade? He must have his reasons for doing this. He is definitely not that kind of person. Believe me. Su-yin raised his head and nodded lightly. I believe. Yesterday, I really went too far with my words. That's right. Marin said. You have to know, yesterday you said such harsh words and didn't leave any face for one leader. He still told your brothers that you said that leaving the Dragon Brigade doesn't count as leaving. It's useless if he doesn't approve. So you are still one of us. Chapter 1039. By the way, what's Matthew's situation now? This was the question that Su-yin was most concerned about now. I don't know the specific situation. Marin shook her head. Regarding Kevin Matthews' matter, the head office is personally responsible. Moreover, this matter is of great importance. The head office will also handle it carefully. The organization needs to be involved in this matter. I just heard that Kevin Matthews' disappearance has attracted the attention of the U.S. authorities. Perhaps during this time, they will strictly investigate the U.S. government agents who have sneaked into Huaxia. Su Yin smiled bitterly. Kevin Matthew had escaped from the United States for quite a long time. Perhaps the U.S. government had already begun to arrange agents all over the world to search for Kevin Matthew's whereabouts. Now that Kevin Matthew was taken away by Wan Guangxiao, it might be a good thing. If he was really allowed to travel alone, he might really be dragged back to the United States by two black agents wearing sunglasses and suits. The U.S. government's desire to capture Snowden was an open secret, but they absolutely did not want anyone to know that they wanted to find Kevin Matthew. There was no country that did not want to have a talent like Kevin Matthew. If the news leaked out, it would definitely attract the attention of countries all over the world. If the United States failed, then the loss would outweigh the gain. Talents would not be neglected no matter where they went. College students who complained about not being able to find a job after graduation should also consider this problem. Why were they not put in an important position? Perhaps it was not because the other party was not a talent scout and did not have the vision to see through a talent. It was very likely that they were not a talent scout and did not have a solid grasp of what they should learn. If you were really talented and had a real standard, even if you dug 3 feet into the ground to hide, there would still be someone who would dig you out and use you for themselves. Old May won't let Kevin Matthew off so easily. Su Yin, if there's a chance, help me tell the chief that if he needs me, I'll do my best to help him keep Matthew. Su Yin paused for a second and said, "Oh yeah, help me tell him that I'm sorry for what happened last night. I didn't think it through." After Yu Marin calmed Su Yin down, the knot in Su Yin's heart was naturally untied. To a certain extent, he also understood Wan Guangxiao. Yesterday he had indeed misunderstood Wan Guangxiao. "I will," Yu Marin said. "If that's the case, I'll go back first. Your dorm has been arranged. Originally, you were supposed to get the key yourself, but I got it for you. If I give it to you, I'm afraid you'll lose it, so I'll keep it for you first. When you go back to the team and need it, come to me to get it." That's great. This saved Su Yin a lot of trouble. Yu Marin was always so considerate of him. Other than feeling grateful, Su Yin really didn't know how to express his gratitude to Yu Marin. The knot in Su Yin's heart was untied, and Yu Marin's mission was considered completed. On the way back to the team, she felt relaxed. Less than 5 minutes after Yu Marin left, Ma San'er and Lin Gu rushed back with 2 servings of Häagen-Dazs. In order to prevent the ice cream from melting on the way back, they specially bought ice to wrap the ice cream. However, Yu Marin had already left, which wasted Ma San'er's efforts. "When will you be as polite to us as you are to female guests?" Su Yin took the ice cream and started eating. "I'm just giving you face," Ma San'er said angrily. "Do you really think I can't tell that the lady is interested in you? Even if I try my best to get close to her, I definitely won't be able to. I'm doing this to give you face. I'm letting her see how awesome your brother Yin is. You have underlings to help you." Lin Gu was speechless. "Third brother, have you not seen my brother's arrogance in their team? With one sentence, thousands of people have to listen to him obediently. Don't talk about one underling running errands. 10, 20, or even 100 underlings will be at his beck and call. Moreover, each of them is extraordinary. Do you understand? My big sister you already knows how charming my brother is. She doesn't need you to fawn over her." Ma San'er pursed his lips. "Then why didn't you say so earlier? If you had said so earlier, I would have gone to the shop at the entrance to buy 4 rings for her to eat. Why did I have to go so far? If I didn't trick you into leaving, it wouldn't be convenient for my brother to talk to them. You don't have any foresight. Don't you know how to find an excuse to go out for a walk?" Lin Gu snorted. Ma San'er was speechless. After all this, they just wanted him to go out for a walk and give them some alone time. Why didn't they say so earlier? It wasn't like he didn't understand. Of course, Ma San'er didn't dare to say this. He raised his hand and looked at his watch. It took him half an hour to come back. That was already very fast. "Brother Yin." Ma San'er looked up and down at Su Yin's clothes. He didn't even miss a single button. "It's only been half an hour. You can't be done so quickly, right? Make it quick." You're a fast shooter. Damn you. Suyin really wanted to give him a kick. What was this guy thinking in his head? What a dirty guy. Ma Sanner touched his chin again. That's right. I can't blame you. This is the only environment I have here. It's really too bad. How can I have the mood to slowly flirt? Brother Yin, you're really too much. You should have said earlier that you lack the money to rent a room. You should have told me. I wouldn't have wronged you. This guy clearly came to ask for a beating, right? Su Yin kicked Ma Sanner's butt. A gentleman uses his mouth, not his fists. Ma Sanner howled and begged for mercy. At Yanjing International Airport, a guy wearing a Meijin sportswear and Essex running shoes slowly walked out. He was wearing a Japanese baseball cap on his head. The brim of the cap was so low that it was almost impossible to see his eyes. Such a person who wore Japanese brands from head to toe was obviously a Japanese. Miss, may I know how to get to Wangfu Hotel? However, this person's fluent Mandarin was shocking. How could a Japanese speak Mandarin so well? Could it be that this guy wasn't a Japanese at all? He was obviously a Huaxia person, but he made himself sound like a Japanese. The staff in the airport hall snorted, but they still smiled and told him out of professionalism. You can take a taxi. I don't know how to explain it. The man in the baseball cap walked forward unhappily. When he was about to walk out of the airport hall, he spat out a mouthful of saliva, attracting the disdainful looks of many well-mannered people. When he finally got into the taxi, the man in the baseball cap quickly dialed a number. It's me, Blood Death Dragon. I'm already in Huaxia. Tell the Prime Minister not to worry. I'll definitely find Kevin Matthew first. If he can be used by the Japanese Empire, let's see if Huaxia dares to say that Turtle Island is theirs. We'll say that Turtle Island is ours first, then Taiwan Island is ours, then Sanya Island is ours. Ha ha ha. In the end, the whole world will be ours. Chapter 1040. Although he scolded him to get lost, they were on a viaduct. The taxi driver held his breath and drove the car off the viaduct. He stopped at a roadside where he could temporarily park. He pointed at the guy in the back seat with a baseball cap and said, "Get out. Don't let me see you again in Huaxia. I'll beat you up every time I see you. Also, let me tell you, Turtle Island belongs to Huaxia, and Japan belongs to the world. Also, Taiwan Island belongs to Huaxia, and Sanya Island belongs to Huaxia. Get out. I can't be bothered to talk nonsense with the Japanese. Let me tell you, I'm not a Japanese, but I really want to be a Japanese." The guy who called himself Shueshang Quanglong sneered. The Japanese are good. The taxi driver had never seen such an annoying person. If you think the Japanese are good, then go back to the Japanese. What are you doing in Huaxia? Don't dirty Huaxia's land. The Japanese are unreasonable, destroying history, denying invasion, and worshipping Class A war criminals. They deserve a beating. What right do you think you have to scold the Japanese? When you scold the Japanese, do you feel ashamed for what your country has done? You don't even reflect on what your country has done wrong. Why can you slander the Japanese because you hate them? Don't try to ask me if I'm a traitor. Let's talk about the truth. Let's see if you dare to answer my question directly. Do you think the ancient Han people could go so far? Without the Japanese, do you think they have the ability to go to Turtle Island? Just keep saying that the Japanese invaded Huaxia. But isn't Huaxia still the same? The South Sea, Turtle Island, and so on. They only dare to say that they have been Huaxia since ancient times because they think they are a so-called big country. Are you *King kidding me? They have the face to say that they are a big country, but they don't dare to face the truth. The standard of their citizens is low, like locusts. Hee. If you ask me if I'm a Huaxia person, I'll answer you no. I don't have the face to be a Huaxia person. Bloody Death Mad Dragon was wearing his Japanese brand hat. He raised his head in high spirits and spouted out what he thought was very reasonable. His arrogance instantly attracted the attention of the surrounding passers-by. A Huaxia person actually dared to speak such ignorant words in the land of Huaxia. This kind of provocative words instantly caused many passers-by to stop and criticize. You really don't know shit. You lack education and live in the dark side of society. You don't have any social experience, yet you call yourself a cultured idiot. Usually, he had seen some anti-Chinese comments on the internet that were hostile to Huaxia. And now he was shouting here like an idiot. Aren't you stupid? Deliberately vilifying the Huaxia people, saying that the Huaxia people have low standards and are like locusts. Then what about your parents? If you don't wear the hat of a traitor, you won't be able to sleep at night? Are your dog eyes blind? You say that the Huaxia government has done many wrong things and thinks that you know history. Why can't you see the history of the founding of the United States and European countries? How many blacks and other races have they killed? How many people have the Japanese you praise invaded Huaxia and Asian countries and killed? Why can't your dog eyes see it? Which country has Huaxia invaded, and which colonies have they colonized? You're just a bastard who lives in a dark world and has a head full of dark thoughts. With your experience, you still dare to reason with me, an upright Huaxia person? I won't lower myself to the level of a grandson like you who doesn't know shit. Get lost. The taxi driver's words immediately caused everyone to clap their hands and cheer. The passers-by could not stand it any longer. They pointed at Bloody Death Mad Dragon's face and said, "What an ignorant thing. You don't know history. You didn't learn history from textbooks, and you still have the face to talk about history with us. You can even deny the personal statements of the war criminals of the Second World War. The war criminals identified by various countries all over the world said that the invasion was to help others. What can the Japanese not do? You're a little fool who has been brainwashed by the Japanese. How dare you come to Huaxia and say that you know history? What a joke, what a joke. Shut up. You've thrown away all of your ancestors' faces. My qualifications to scold the Japanese are very simple. It's because I'm a Huaxia person. It's because my grandfather fought against the Japanese on the battlefield. It's because my father was a soldier. It's because I remember history. I remember the Sino-Japanese War of the First Sino-Japanese War. I remember the September 18th incident. I remember the Lagukyo incident. I remember the Nanjing massacre. And I remember the 8-Year War from 1937 to 1945. How many Chinese men shed their blood? So I have the right to dislike the Japanese. And you don't have the right to criticize me because you're not even human. You're just scum. The taxi driver spat, got into the car and left. Everyone expressed their disdain for this scum and walked away in disgust. There was a saying that those who truly understood history and understood what the Japanese did to Huaxia when they invaded would never reason with the Japanese. Because the Japanese would never admit their mistakes. Because the Japanese still worship those Class A war criminals who killed our compatriots. What right do we have to reason with the Japanese? They were the ones who were unreasonable. Even if Huaxia and Huaxia people were gentlemen and magnanimous, we would only forgive the Japanese who recognized history and admitted their mistakes. We would not forgive those who denied history, fabricated history, and worshipped war criminals. You Huaxia people have no quality. You're evil. You're pretending to be virtuous. The guy known as Shueshang Quanglong scolded in exasperation. He was born in Huaxia, but he learned Japanese when he grew up and went to study in Japan. In order to get a Japanese household registration, he even sold his body to an ugly woman in Japan. Because of that, his parents fell seriously ill from anger and cut off all ties with him. From then on, this guy started to get more and more out of hand. He thought of all kinds of ways to betray his master and sneak into the Japanese political circle. After all, there were not many people with normal brains in the Japanese political circle, so with his intelligence level he could rely on opportunities to enter the core of the political circle. After that, he became a dog at Anpei Shinzo's feet because he knew how to say a lot of things that Anpei Shinzo liked. Anpei Shinzo also liked to show off his fallacies and fallacies. He felt that they were very reasonable, but in fact, each one was more stupid than the other. Originally, Shueshang Quanglong was not called Shueshang Quanglong. He felt that Anpei Shinzo's name was 4 words, so he changed his name. In the past, his name was Qin Shouxing Beastsheng. Anyway, he did not like this name, so he changed it. Shueshang Quanglong had no choice but to walk to the hotel. However, he wanted to take a shortcut, so he simply crossed the road on the expressway. He was directly hit by the rich second generation who was speeding in front of him. That scene was really called sacrificing one's life. It was a pity that he did not die in Japan, the place he yearned for. He died in the country that gave birth to him and raised him but was despised by him. As the old saying goes, a son does not despise his mother for being ugly, and a dog does not despise his family for being poor. Even though our country is not as good as developed countries and there are still many areas where we are lacking, everyone is working hard. The leaders are working hard, and the people are working hard. One day, Huaxia will become better and better. It is not easy to lead a country with more than 1 billion people. It is difficult to understand how difficult it is to lead a country with a large population. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.